I've been alone for what seems like forever. Try to hold it together, but I'm losing my grip. I need someone who can make me feel better. Wrap me up in a sweater, treat my pain with a kiss. Then suddenly you are here, inside my head everywhere. Where did you come from? I'm wondering. Baby, are you made up of for real? Say, can you feel what I feel? 'Cause I can tell if I'm just dreaming. I wish I had a girl like you, and wish you could be real, but you're not really here. And I don't wanna wake up without you. But tonight is gonna have to do if I'm gonna get with a girl like you. I fade away, every day you're not with me. Maybe now that you've showed me what love could be like, what can I say? I know it sounds like I'm crazy, but I need to believe in you to get through my life. Then suddenly you are here, inside my head everywhere. Where did you come from? I'm wondering. Baby, are you made up of for real? Say, can you feel what I feel? 'Cause I can tell if I'm just dreaming. I wish I had a girl like you, and wish you could be real, but you're not really here. And I don't wanna wake up without you. But tonight is gonna have to do if I'm gonna get with a girl like you. Girl like you, girl like you. If I'm gonna get with a girl like you. Girl like you, girl like you. If I'm gonna get with a girl like you. Girl like you, girl like you. I don't wanna wake up without you. But tonight is gonna have to do if I'm gonna get with a girl like you. Then suddenly you are here, inside my head everywhere. Where did you come from? I'm wondering. Baby, are you made up of for real? Say, can you feel what I feel? 'Cause I can tell if I'm just dreaming. I wish I had a girl like you, and wish you could be real, but you're not really here. And I don't wanna wake up without you. But tonight is gonna have to do if I'm gonna get with a girl like you. Girl like you, girl like you. If I'm gonna get with a girl like you. Girl like you, girl like you. If I'm gonna get with a girl like you. Girl like you, girl like you. I don't wanna wake up without you. But tonight is gonna have to do if I'm gonna get with a girl like you. For the first time in ages, I wake up and don't hate it. I guess I found some peace. Through the day to the evening, without shouting and screaming, something new to me. Alone without being lonely, getting back to the old me. It's kinda nice to feel free. I thought this was over, thought I could control it. But if I speak the truth, I ain't over you. I was feeling sober until you came up now. I don't know what to do. I ain't over you. I ain't over. I ain't over. No matter what I do, I ain't over you. Give it time, things will settle. Just a face till it's better, yeah. Heard it all before. Even though we were toxic, feels the most when you've lost it. That's just how it goes. I'm still feeling lonely. Can't get back to the old me. I'm stuck in way too deep. I thought this was over. Thought I could control it. But if I speak the truth, I ain't over you. I was feeling sober until you came off now. I don't know what to do. I ain't over you. I ain't over. I ain't over.
No matter what you do, I ain't over you. What's up, everybody? It's Friday. I ain't over you. I know, don't quit your day job, she's on.
Ain't over you. No matter
What you do,
I ain't over you.
what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Doll. Let me see. Let me switch screens so we can say hi to everybody. Okay, there we go. What's up? What's going on, everybody? Hello. Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Doll. As always, I am your host, Shizu-san, and my beautiful and lovely assistant for today's video is the very lovely Asuna Yuki from Sword Art Online. Other than the fact that she hasn't been on stream for a while, she's here for a reason, actually. She's actually here for today's episode to kind of say her piece, or I guess show her face about this piece of today's episode. We're going to be talking about the future of anime dolls. Sounds grim, doesn't it? Or sounds exciting, depending on how you look at it. But we're going to get into a deep dive in what this hobby potentially could look like in the next couple of years. Different things that may be affecting this hobby, some do's and don'ts, things like that. It's going to be an amalgamation of things, but the overall general gist of today's episode is how to prepare for the future. What's the future going to look like with our current hobby collectibles / customizables, lovely ladies and boys now, because we definitely have the boy dolls that are coming in strives or droves. Droves? I guess droves, maybe? I don't know. I guess. And my thing's not working. I really wanted to be fancy, and it's like... There we go. So yeah, the boys are coming to town. But don't worry, the girls are still behind. They're still coming. It's not gonna stop. Yo, Kitten Cat Shop, welcome to the stream. Kitten Cat Shop, what's up? Batman Jackson, hey, you must be busy, Batman. I know the convention season is upon us. It kind of never stops for you, actually, but you're probably preparing for Otakon next week, as are a couple of us, as Otakon is nearing. So a couple announcements, speaking of Otakon. Before we get into today's episode, as always, I'm going to do a few announcements of things to look forward to that is coming up. And let's switch screens. So like I said, Otakon, yay, Otakon is coming up. It's going to be next weekend, August 8th through 10th. I will be there Friday and Saturday. I'm still debating whether or not I'm going to be there Sunday because I don't know. I don't have any panels or anything, and I kind of feel like just driving home, but we'll see. If something catches my eye to be there for Sunday, I might be there Sunday. But I'm going to be there Friday and Saturday. I'm going to have 3 panels. 2 are my own. 1 I'm going to be, I guess, co-paneling or guest starring or whatever you want to call it. There's going to be 2 of us. It's going to be me and Tempest doing a panel together. First time ever, which is weird because we've been friends for such a long time doing doll panels and we never actually collaborated on a panel till now. Mostly my fault because I'm lazy and I keep forgetting to message her back, and that's 100% on me. But also because Tempest is just really good about that stuff. Like when she wants to do something, she makes it happen, which is why I love her. She's so good about that. But yeah, Otakon, I will be there. We are going to be having a doll meet. Good thing Batman Jackson's in the chat because I think we're having a doll meet on both Friday and Saturday. but I don't know the particular details. Batman, if you can illuminate everybody. I don't know if we're having... I checked the schedule. I didn't see it on the schedule, so this might be like a word-of-mouth thing. We're just going to have to spread the word. But there is going to be a doll meetup at Otakon next weekend. But to go over the schedule, okay... Sorry if I blew out everybody's speakers with that. Actually, you know what? Before we start, I love, now that I know how to do this, I want my background music so that it's not like super duper quiet. Let me see. I think that's good, right? That's not too loud. Okay, I'll leave it like that. That shouldn't be that bad. If it gets too annoying, let me know, and I will lower it. But yeah, if we're gonna go over to the schedule... Why are you asking me these cookie questions? Stop asking me that. On Friday, the first panel I'm gonna do, if we go down here, it's at like 10 something. Yeah, here we go. So right here, 10:15 on Friday. Okay, this is gonna be panel room 6, Friday, 10:15 a.m. to 11:15 a.m. Oh, Asuna, get in the picture. I'm going to be doing a beginner's guide to Japanese dramas. If you haven't gone to it before, this is my second time doing it at Otakon, and I got a couple new shows on the list that I would like to share with people. It's a great panel. If you've never watched J-dramas before, it's pretty informative, and I give out like a lot of different examples of good stuff to try to watch as your first time learning about J-dramas, and I give you helpful tips on where to start, because sometimes it can be a little difficult on finding out where to start to watch these things, depending on what you're looking for. And, you know, I kind of go over that. It's going to be a fun time. And then after that, I'm going to be doing my duo panel. So on Friday, I think it's at 12:30 or 12:45. Where is it? 12. Where is it? Oh, here. So Friday, right here. Oh no, I highlighted the wrong thing. Why does it keep doing that? Okay. Oh my god, I'm so bad. Okay, so right there. Is it better in vinyl? Anime dolls. Panel room 6. So it's the same panel room I was in. It's just going to be 1.5 panels later. Like, it's going to be one panel in between, basically. And it's going to be... This is 100% Tempest Strife's panel. She did all the hard work. She put all the effort into making this panel. I'm just giving my 2 cents on my experience on the vinyl side of the hobby. But basically, the whole panel is about the differences between vinyl dolls and resin dolls. Which one would you prefer? Which one appeals to who? Things of that nature. Where to buy? How much they cost? It's kind of like... very similar to my intro to anime dolls panel, but with a twist, because it's now comparing also the vinyl and resin dolls. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be interesting. Hopefully if you guys are coming down to Otakon, you can see this and experience it. But that's 2 panels that I will be in at the very early of Friday, which is not usually the best time, but if you can make it, thank you for coming. After that, it's like kind of free for me. So I'm going to be running around. I might be doing a live stream on that Friday. It really depends on plans and how they work out, because I'm going to eat lunch, and then depending on how I feel afterwards, I'll probably stream or something about the con. But Batman says Friday at 8 p.m. and Saturday at 7 p.m. in the Lolita Garden. Batman says it should make it on the schedule before the con, so hopefully within the next couple of days, but it's currently not on the schedule, but I'm letting you guys know now. And I'm putting it on all my, like, Discord channels that I'm in, because people seem to use Discord more than anything now. So I'm going to be putting it there, the info of when it is. So Friday, 8 p.m., Saturday, 7 p.m. in the Lolita Garden. We're having 2 doll meetups this year for the people that can't make it Saturday and can only make it Friday, or the people that can only make it Saturday can't make it Friday. So something like that. And they're roughly about an hour long, or until they kick us out, essentially. But it's fun. I mean, we had a lot of fun last year, so hopefully you guys will come out. I know Tempest and myself will be there, and Batman will be there for Friday. I don't know who else will be there, but there is a doll group within the local area that's going to be bringing dolls and coming down to that con as well. Saturday, our good friends at Kitten Cat Shop will be there as well. and a couple other people that usually show up to doll cons in Anime NYC and Otakon will probably be there on Saturday also, because that's pretty much the big day. But we'll all be there, you know, on Friday anyways, for everyone that wants to hang out. And then, so then that brings us to like Saturday, right? So Saturday, hold on, let me find the beginning here. So on Saturday, I'm essentially doing nothing all day. Like, I have no panels or anything, so I might live stream Saturday as well. I'm also going to probably check out other panels or see other things while I'm there. The doll meetup will be at 7 p.m. on Saturday, which I'm assuming that one will only last an hour because they probably need to use it for something else. But also, I have a panel that night, so on Saturday night, I'm doing a very late night panel. And so is Tempest Strife, and we're actually competing for times because we're both having a panel at the same exact time. But it's really, really late. Where is it? Look at this. We're going all the way at the bottom of the schedule. So right around, is it here? 10:30? Yeah. So 10:30 is my panel on Saturday night. So I'm doing this one, The Dark Side of Sumo, panel room 5. That'll be Saturday at 10:30 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. It's such a late time. I feel like they gave me that time for the panel because I called it The Dark Side of Sumo, which kind of makes it sound like it's 18 plus, even though in the description I said it's family friendly. We are going to talk about the dark side, but it's nothing like too gruesome or something that you can't show to kids. But they gave me like late night anyways, so this is The Dark Side of Sumo. And then not after that, but almost like kind of semi through it, there is, where is it? Where is her panel? It's supposed to be somewhere here. I swear it's here. I just can't find it. Oh yeah, here we go. At 10:45, it's this one. Cosplay Dolls, The Miracle of Miniatures, panel room 6. That's going to be Tempest's other panel. So she's at 10:45, I'm at 10:30. So we kind of running at the same time. But take your pick, whichever you want to go to. She's doing a doll panel and miniatures panel. I'm doing Dark Side of Sumo. So most of you that's probably watching this channel have no interest in sumo anyways. But if you want to see another doll panel on a Saturday, you can see Tempest's other doll panel, which is the Cosplay for Dolls, on Saturday, 10:45 p.m. And then that's really it. Like, after that, I'm probably going to head back to the hotel, sleep, and then leave Saturday. Unless something catches my eyes or people want to do something on Sunday before I leave. Like, I'm open to, you know, whatever people want to do. But that's pretty much everything, I think, for announcements for that Saturday. I will stream. I just don't know when, if it's Friday or Saturday. I will also try to stream, because I'm in a really cool hotel this time. I might do a hotel stream, which will be short, and probably no one will join, because I'll probably do it at some weird, awkward hour. But it will be available on the VODs anyways. But my idea this year is I want to do as much of an Otakon, like, kind of walk around, so you guys can see, like, Otakon again. Because the last time I did it was 2023. The layout is pretty much the same, but they do change little things here and there. And then another thing I was throwing around the idea of is walking around DC outside of Otakon, like taking you to my usual haunts, like places I like to go, like this really cool hidden coffee shop that I found, which I call it hidden. I don't know, maybe a lot of people know about it, but it's like in this weird alleyway and then in the middle of a parking lot, and they have great coffee. There's also this amazing Cuban restaurant I love going to that's really, really close to the con, but I've heard it's not going to be great weather. It's either going to like rainstorm or it's going to be way too super hot. So this is really tentative. It really depends on the weather if I'm going to go outside and stream or not. But at the very minimum, I'll do a stream inside the con. Now, I won't do the artist alley or the dealer's room because I never get reception down there and it's horrible. So, but I'll take you around like all the other places that you could possibly see, like the gaming room, the panel rooms, like the big archway, the entrance area, all that other kind of stuff. It'll be a lot of fun. Oh, hopefully. Batman says, my tan SMD boy just arrived, and then Volks announced 2 Vocaloid releases on the new bodies. Yeah, I know. We're actually going to talk about that today, Batman. I got to make a friend in Japan to get me a Ribbon Girl JP only release. You're at Superstar Anime this weekend? Oh my god, you're at Superstar Anime, Batman, and then you have Otakon next week? When do you, like, rest? Placebo, welcome to the stream, Placebo. Nice. Is the Lolita Gardens same location as last year in between JW and the con? Yes. If I'm not mistaken, it's in the same place, Placebo. You asked for 1.5 hours until they kick us out, or the last panel each day. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so roughly about an hour or 1.5 hours for each doll meetup. So it should be fun. Scruffy, what's up, Scruffy? Welcome to the stream. So, last year was great turnout. It was a lot of fun. Yes, last year we had quite a number of people. I think what helped was having it on the schedule so that people could plan ahead of time. So hopefully if we can get it on the schedule as soon as possible, that would be great. But, you know, admittedly, I'm putting this all on Batman Jackson's shoulders. So, like, if it's not on the schedule, it's not her fault. Like, I'm the lazy one, okay? She's trying her hardest, and I'm just lazy. But if we could get it on the schedule, that would be amazing. And we all owe Batman Jackson a huge thank you for organizing this and putting it together. Because you know your man over here, I always forget stuff, and I'm never on time. So people got to bail me out because I'm horrible at this stuff. Lucia says, why not have another unofficial doll meetup Saturday in the JW? I mean, we could have an unofficial meetup, but the only thing with the unofficial meetups is it's hard to get word of mouth around. Whereas if we can kind of like get it on the schedule, people know when to come and where to go. But you know, if you want to have an unofficial meetup, I'm down for it. Let me know when and where and what time, and we just got to spread the word around so that people, you know. Yeah, I think that's probably like the best way to do it. Tempest, hi, driving home from the game. Yeah, drive safe. No worries. We'll have plenty of things to talk about that you can contribute to, Tempest. Because I'm sure you would like to in some of the topics we have tonight. But that's pretty much everything for Otakon. So I just wanted to let everybody know, because it's something I do every single stream. Whenever I go to a con, I always give you a heads up on my plans and what I'm going to do if anybody wants to hang out or just like meet other people or anything like that. So it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Trust me. Otakon, every year, we usually have a good turnout, for doll people, whether big or small. It seems everybody has a lot of fun. So, please don't hesitate to send me a direct message and ask me, like, hey, where is it? Where are we going? Where's the meetup or whatever? I can't find it. I'm more than happy to like find you and like kind of walk you to where it is. You just gotta let me know. Send it to me on Instagram. That's probably like the best way to find me. If you're part of Tempest Strife's Discord, you can also get in touch with me there, or any of us really, there on her Discord. If Tempest wants to, open it up to everybody, I think it is opened up to everyone who wants to join. It's just certain areas are locked out, because of personal conversations, but that's neither here nor there. Batman says, and then I have Matsuri-Con, and then I have Colossal. Oh yeah, Colossal Con East is coming up. I forgot about Matsuri-Con. Isn't that the one that's out west? It's like Midwest, right, for Matsuri-Con? You're very busy, Batman. I swear to God. You're so busy. And I'm trying to think, is there anything else? I don't think there's anything else to really go over, so probably just kind of go right into today's topic. I'm going to end this poll here. It looks like we got 7 votes on the poll. Not bad. So 28% of you is getting Smart Doll, Resin Dolls, and other dolls, and only 14% of you are getting Dolphy Dream Dolls. Okay. Oh, Matsuri-Con's Ohio? Oh, okay, I see. For some reason, I thought Matsuri-Con was like Texas. I don't know why I thought that. Anyways, let us just kind of move on. All right, so I'm kind of like leaning. I should lean back in my chair because now my face is all like fuzzy because Asuna is taking up all of the space on the camera. So today's video, we're talking about the future of anime dolls. Like, what is our hobby gonna look in the future? Because anime dolls in general, through its inception, for at least what I talk about on my channel, would be anime dolls in vinyl. There has been anime dolls in resin prior to vinyl and during the time of vinyl, and they're actually kind of making a resurgence now, of making a lot of anime characters in resin now. But my point is that vinyl started in the early 2000s. If I remember the exact date, I think the very first vinyl doll was in 2001 or 2000 itself. That being said, it's about like 25 years roughly, right? That vinyl dolls or vinyl anime dolls have been around. And, you know, throughout the years, I've always said this, that this hobby's been picking up steam. We've been getting more and more people interested in the hobby. And okay, so now the music is now bothering myself. Let me turn it a little bit more down. It's been growing by leaps and bounds every single year. And personally, and I know a lot of people will probably disagree with me on this, but personally, I feel like it's gone up in magnitudes of popularity and, dare I say, becoming very trendy to be in the doll hobby now because of Smart Doll. And it's not necessarily because the doll is better or whatever, or they're cuter or whatnot. Like, it's none of that. It's really just the marketing style of Danny Chu being more of a global marketing scheme that kind of helped out the hobby more, because we know that Volks and A-Zone does sell their things overseas. You can get them in any country in the world, but it's not as wildly advertised. You know, and even though they do advertise on social media like Instagram or X or Twitter, the algorithm doesn't really pick it up as much as like, let's say, Smart Doll. For some reason, I don't know what tags Danny's using or what he's doing, or maybe it's the hours or the time of the day, or maybe it's the way he advertises his things. Because if you look at the Volks advertisements, a lot of them have either a picture and then it's all Japanese, or it would have like a bunch of words on the picture. It's just all in Japanese that people can't read. But in a lot of Danny's posts, it's all in English. It's all got like high flashy pictures, you know, and he also is I don't know how to say this, like an internet personality, right? Like he's kind of well known within the anime sphere. So he kind of brought some of that influence over. And I think, you know, it's a combination of all those things that kind of brought attention to the hobby. And through that, a lot of people got into Smart Dolls. And because of Smart Dolls, they learned about the other dolls like Dolphy Dreams and A-Zones and Tiny Fox and what have you. And they kind of branched off after that and learned other things, or they just stayed within the Smart Doll realm. Then you had the other people that were part of the resin hobby that kind of backed away for a while. And then all of a sudden got pulled back in because of Smart Doll, and then branched out into Dolphy Dream, or maybe just went right back to resin. But I feel like there has been a lot of help within the community to grow and spread its worldwide awareness that this hobby is there because of the marketing of Smart Doll. Not necessarily the doll itself, just the way it was marketed, I think, really helped out. And then there's YouTubers that came out like myself and Kodama Anime and Magical Girl Kit Kat and, you know, and My Lady Disdain and, you know, Munekas Pupas and My Froggy, you know, like all these people started coming out and advertising more on YouTube, and it became much more easier to find. Now, when I say look to the future, from early 2000s to now, right, in today's world, how are these dolls holding up? That is the key, right? Because even though a lot of you in the doll hobby probably have been in this hobby for a while and have probably started with resin and or Dolphy Dream and then kind of went, you know, to Smart Doll, or just kind of stayed in your own world, regardless of where you came from, if you dipped your toes or your feet into the vinyl side of the hobby and you started purchasing vinyl dolls at whatever point in your life, whether you did it early 2000s, the 2010s, you know, or just recently in the 2020s, you know, depending on how you care for your dolls and how the world, I guess, in general sees dolls, everything's going to have an up and down. Just like any other hobby will have an up and down. And right now, I feel like the doll hobby is cresting at the peak. I don't know if it's hit the peak yet, but I think it's reached really high. And I feel at some point it's going to crash. Not necessarily crash like down to zero, like, you know, like a Starkmacher crash or something like that. But I feel like there's going to be a dip incoming. And it's how we as a community respond to that dip, or not respond to the dip. How will it affect our hobby? There's also the question of what are doll companies now doing to keep current doll owners, or to even appeal to new doll owners, in order to keep the hobby growing, because everything is an evolution. So, even with Dolphy Dream, the earliest examples, they were actually strung inside, and it wasn't until Dolphy Dream Body 2 that they actually had an internal skeleton. So, everything is evolving and takes steps, and that's also going to determine how the hobby goes, whether it's helpful, not helpful, because we all know that sometimes companies take a wrong turn. Or at least in my opinion, they take a wrong turn. Like, for example, you have A-Zone that had the painted on eyes and the squishy heads, and then they went to the new bodies that actually had eye chips that you could switch out and wigs you could switch out. And then for some reason, they backtracked to making some of their dolls, not all, but some of their dolls back to the painted eyes look. And it's like, why are you going backwards? Why are we regressing here? I thought, we're at a constant state of evolution, but sometimes we're not. So let me just move a couple screens around so I can show you guys what I'm talking about. Now, before I move it to the next screen, I want to tell you guys that before we talk about the future of anime dolls, instead of just speaking about the dolls themselves, the very first aspect I really want to cover in depth is purchasing your dolls in the future. And that brings us to the topic of tariffs. So, tariffs. Chat has kind of cut off the title, but it says de minimis deflated. I was trying to think of a trendy way to kind of bring up this topic, but if it sounds stupid, it's stupid. But I was like, de minimis deflated, what does that mean? So, a couple months back, if you guys remember, we were talking about how the US tariffs are changing things, and Trump signed a law, and now all these tariffs are going out to all these different places, and how it's going to affect us in the doll hobby. And what we originally established or found out was that whatever you order, specifically talking about anime dolls, okay? So in this example, we'll talk about Japan. When you order a doll from Japan, as long as it was under $800, you weren't hit with tariffs. It'll be just like normal, because us in the United States, for some reason, we're privileged. And I really enjoy that aspect because I don't want to pay tariffs. But I understand that in all actuality, we're very privileged to not have to pay tariffs, because the entire world pay tariffs on whatever they buy. So, like our friends in Europe, our friends in Australia, they get hit with hard tariffs whenever they buy dolls. And just us in the United States, we never really did. So in all actuality, we're just joining the rest of the world when it comes to tariffs. We're just joining them. We're just losing our... Hold on, I'm just checking the stream. We're losing our privilege, so to speak, of not having to pay tariffs. And recently this week, I forgot if it was Monday or Tuesday of this week, the president signed a new tariff suspending de minimis. So apparently a lot of people were finding ways to getting around the tariffs and not paying tariffs. I don't want to go in depth into that because that's a whole nother argument, but let's just say people were finding ways around it to not having to pay tariffs, okay? And some of them are very sketch ways. If you do some research, you'll see it, and you'll find out how sketchy it could be. Now, he signed a new law that's starting on August 29th of this year, August 29th of 2025. There is no more de minimis exemption, which means it's not exactly a zero. From my research that I could find out, it's not like every single thing will get hit by a tariff. There is a margin, okay? And that margin is $100 now. Anything under $100, and this includes shipping, okay, won't get hit with 15% tariff from Japan. Now, in this example, I'm only talking about Japan because most of our doll stuff comes from Japan, at least for anime dolls and vinyl dolls. Some of the newer stuff that either plastic or vinyl from China is going to be hit hard with tariffs. Other things like Korea and things like that, or things like Tiny Fox that comes from China, they're going to get hit hard with tariffs because I think China's tariff rate is 200% or something like that. So with this new de minimis being deflated or suspended, the limit is now $100. So I copied word for word everything that's on the United States tariff law screen. And I only highlighted the areas that's like, to me, I thought were really important. The rest of it says like, you may qualify for de minimis motion if you purchase something prior to the change of the tariffs. But essentially, the core idea or the core reason that we need to understand as doll owners or in this doll hobby is that now for the United States, this doesn't apply to anyone else in the world. This is really just us United States people crying that we got to pay now. Trump signed like some kind of bill or some kind of thing where he made a deal with Japan where the tariffs are now 15%. But the de minimis is now suspended, so now the minimum is $100. So this really affects everything. Like, even if we were to buy things, from Japan, right? What's affected? Well, outfits. Because if you look at it, outfits that you buy from Volks, usually outfit sets are about $50. Could go as high as $70, depending on what outfits it could go over $100. Like if you're looking for Sakura Miko's spring outfit. Outfit sets are going to be affected because it used to not. You could buy 1 or 2 outfit sets with accessories and everything for less than, I don't know, $200 or $300, depending on what you're buying, and you wouldn't get hit with de minimis. You wouldn't get hit with tariffs. But now the minimum is $100 starting on August 29th. One outfit from Volks with tax could possibly bring you up to that $100 mark, depending on what outfit you're buying. This is not only going to affect outfits, but it's also going to affect accessories. Think about like things like shoes, like Smart Doll shoes are like $50. Let's say you buy shoes and a pair of jeans. That's over $100. You're going to get hit with tariffs. Bags, like my favorite bag supplier, One Pin Fun, that does really amazing luxury handbags for dolls. These things are like $50, $70, and then with tax and shipping and all that, that could be right around the $100 mark or more, depending on how many bags you buy. Which, I mean, to be fair, it's kind of no reason in buying one. You can pay a lot of tariffs and a lot of shipping for just one item. I mean, you might as well just buy at least a couple. I'm not saying buy like 30 things, but I kind of see it not being worth it for like one item. Like, even if you were to not get hit by tariffs, like you buy a $50 pair of shoes with shipping's like $65, so you don't pay tariffs. It's just kind of silly to me because then you're going to buy one $50 shoes, pay shipping and not pay tariffs, and then buy another $50 pair of shoes and pay shipping and not pay tariffs. But those two shippings combined, like separately, probably would have been more money than buying the two shoes together and hitting with tariffs once and having only one shipping cost. But again, this is just me like speculating. I didn't do the math or anything. I'm just kind of like doing it in my head and thinking that maybe it could be like this. Maybe it's not. But it affects like accessories and bags. And God forbid you want to buy this outfit, which doesn't come with shoes, and then you got to buy shoes with it. That definitely puts you over $100. And now you got to pay 15% tariffs. It also is going to affect dolls, obviously. Before we were talking about it like, 5 or 6 episodes ago when the first thing of de minimis hit, dolls were roughly $500. Like, if you're buying a bare bones Smart Doll, you were paying $385. If you're buying like a collaboration from Dolphy Dream, you're around like $500, $600. All of that was under the $800 de minimis. But now that it's $100 minimum, guess what, people? Any new doll we buy, 15% tariff. Right off the bat, 15% tariff. So this is heavily going to affect us in the doll hobby. I mean, it's affecting everybody, but since this channel is about dolls, we're only going to be talking about how it affects us in the doll world. And, these two dolls, as Batman Jackson was saying, this is the reason why I put them up there. These two dolls, Megadon Luca and Mako, are getting a 2.0 release. It's essentially anybody that missed out on buying Megadon Luca and Mako when they first released is having a second go around. That's essentially what it is. You're getting a second chance at getting these dolls, and you get the upgraded 2.0 DDF3 body. So that's also a nice thing. So if you didn't want to pay the scalper price of $1,200 to $1,500 on a Megadon Luca, and then pay huge tariffs on that, at the very minimum, at least you could get the new one now for MSRP with tariffs instead of scalper price with tariffs. So even though you're going to get hit with tariffs, it's still going to be cheaper than buying it from another place. Now, I was talking with Tempest about this earlier today when I was like spitballing ideas for today's episode. We were discussing online about, you know, how much will this affect things for like other shippings? So for example, China has some ridiculous tariff, like 200% or something like that. What's to stop China from, I guess, putting a warehouse in Japan, which has a lower tariff, and then you buy it from their affiliate in Japan and then only pay the 15% tariffs? That could happen, you know, to kind of get around that. But at the same time, does Japan want to have China open up a factory or a warehouse? What qualifies as a factory or warehouse? Like, maybe you can't have like a hub, like from a Chinese company, have a hub in Japan and then ship from Japan to get the 15% tariff. Maybe there's some kind of rule where you get tariffed based upon where the originating item was from. So if it originated from China, like if the parent company was China, but then the affiliate is Japan, do you pay the 200% tariff from China because that's where it came from? I don't think it's materials though, because even if Japan were to get like, let's say fabric to make the clothes from China, but then they made it into something in Japan and then sold it, I don't think you're going to get 200% tariff because Japan's paying whatever it is to import those goods to Japan in order to make something. But if you were just using Japan as a hub, I don't think that would count. But again, I'm not an expert in this field. I'm just spitballing ideas here, so I don't really know. But what I do know, and what I want to let the rest of my doll family people know, is that starting on August 29th, as far as we know so far, starting on August 29th, de minimis exemption is suspended, and now the new minimum is $100. So anything you buy from Japan, I'm specifically talking about Japan because I didn't research any other country's tariff amount, but if you're buying from Japan, it's 15%, anything over $100. So that's going to affect us, whether you're buying clothes, accessories, dolls. I believe nothing is really safe anymore in the doll hobby from these tariffs. It's just really hitting home. And whether you agree with the tariffs or disagree with the tariffs is not really a part of this conversation, because that's way too political and I really don't want to have that conversation. All I'm doing is just informing you of what's going to happen and what we can do to prepare for it, which is really nothing. We all have to take a deep look within ourselves and be like, is this doll or is this item worth that extra 15% tariff? And maybe the 15% tariff ain't so bad when you're buying something $100. It's an extra $15. You know, maybe that's not so bad for some people. Like, I'll buy an outfit or two and pay an extra $15 in tariffs. What it really comes down to is the dolls, because that's a higher percentage. So if you're a $500 doll, that's a big percentage of 15%. If it's a $1,000 doll, that's a big percentage. It's $150 right there. If it's a $2,000 doll, you know, depending on what you're buying, like a big resin doll or really old out of print Asuna Yuki from Sword Art Online, which she's going for a whopping like $1,800, $2,500. Imagine paying 15% on that. Like, it's going to affect that. So if you're a vinyl doll collector, right, and you want to collect dolls because you just got into the hobby now and you always wanted an Asuna doll, let's say you're lucky enough to find one, because the first hurdle you have to pass is finding one, right? You got to find one. Then when you actually find the doll that you want, then it's like, is the juice really worth the squeeze? Meaning that, like, if you finally found this grail doll you've always wanted, and unfortunately scalpers are asking $1,500 or $2,000, are you willing to pay $300 in tariffs? Because, you know, because if it's $1,000, you're looking at $150. If it's $2,000, you're looking at $300 in tariffs alone. So, you know, it's a big deal when it comes to the dolls themselves. Maybe it's not going to hurt the wallet so much for clothing and accessories, but it'll still be there, you know? And as all of you know, this is not a cheap hobby, okay? This is a luxury hobby. It's not a necessity. And with luxury hobbies come luxury prices. You know, this is not a cheap hobby to be in. And now that de minimis is $100 and it's 15% tariffs, we really got to take a stern look at what are we doing here? Can I really afford to be in this hobby? Or maybe do I have to go secondhand? You know, because I think one of the good, I don't want to say good because it's really not good, but one of the things that you can look forward to that could be a new resource to you is buying a doll secondhand from another US owner, somebody that's in the US, like perhaps myself. Like, let's say I wanted to like pare down my collection, like I've been saying for quite some time. I could sell you one of my dolls and you won't get hit with tariffs because I live in the US, you live in the US. And it's not a brand new doll. I'm selling you a used item. You know what I mean? I'll sell it at a fair market value, you know, and you won't get hit with tariffs. So maybe people will start buying from other people within the US just to avoid these tariffs instead of buying things from Japan or from eBay or Mercari from other countries like Mercari Japan or eBay Japan or whatever, you know, because that's something that a lot of people were doing. You know, I myself included, I'm a huge fan of buying from Mandarake, but now Mandarake is going to get hit with tariffs because anything I buy from Mandarake is probably going to be over $100 already. It's pretty sure it's going to be over $100. They have very fair prices on Mandarake, but you know, a lot of things I do like that are on there are pretty pricey. That's a me thing. So not everyone's going to run into that issue, but a lot of things that I like on there is pretty expensive. So tariffs are really going to affect a lot of things come August 29th. Now, here's the other caveat, right? We don't even know if this is really going to happen, right? And what I mean by that is, yes, this was signed. It's a new law that will take effect on August 29th. But if history has ever shown anything, our president has kind of flopped back and forth on things. You know, one minute he says he'll do this, another minute he says he's going to do something else. So maybe de minimis will initiate on August 29th, and then the next month later he's going to roll it back and say, no, we're going to move it back to $800, which, to be fair, a lot of critics are saying that now. You know, it hasn't even started yet. It's slated for August 29th, and there's already people on the internet saying that, remember that time when he was going to hit China with 200% tariffs, and then he rolled it back and extended it until June of 2025 and stuff like that. So there's people already saying that, oh, he's saying he's going to do this, and then come September, he's probably going to roll it back and give it another year extension. It's tactics. He's using tactics to negotiate. And, you know, I don't care about that or to talk about that. I just want to know what the end result is. That's where it really happens for me. Like, is he going to do it? Is he not going to do it? So I can plan ahead. So as of right now, we really don't know what's going to actually happen. He could do the tariffs on August 29th and everything over $100 is going to be hit. And then the next month, it could go away. Or the next month, it could be even worse. He could probably say there's no more limit. Anything is 15% tariffs. Who knows? He might just say, yeah, you could still have your $100, but I'm going to make the percentage to 20% now instead of 15%. Who knows? We don't know because, again, our new administration, whether you like it or not, is making decisions that sometimes flip-flop back and forth. And again, I don't want to have that discussion and argue with you about whether his policies are good or bad. That's a whole different discussion. All I'm saying is that this is what's going to happen, and it might stay this way, or it might change. So let's not get too crazy and just be like, oh my god, the world is ending, because we actually don't know. He might change his mind, and then it'll go away. Or it could get even worse. Who knows? Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see when August 29th comes around. But I figured this alone, not only did it affect the hobby when we first had the de minimis motion of $800, now we're talking about $100. This is really affecting our hobby. It's affecting anyone's hobby, really. Not just vinyl dolls. Transformers hobby, Pokemon card hobby, you know, like anything from Japan hobby, anything from anywhere else in the world hobby. Like, it's just really affecting everybody. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, it's still going to affect you. Regardless if there's good intentions or bad intentions behind it, it will affect you. So I think, but I don't think personally, I don't think that having the de minimis lowered to $100 and everyone paying 15%, it's not going to kill the hobby. You might have some people take a break from the hobby. You might see sales slowing down for a bit because of this. Who knows? But I don't think this is something that will definitely kill the hobby. It's not like people are just going to be like, oh, well, I'm done collecting dolls, and then just kind of like go on to something else. I don't, for some people, this might be the breaking point and they might change their mind on this hobby. But I think in general, the hobby will still be around. People are just going to think really hard and maybe buy less because of this tariffs. But I don't think it's really going to affect the future of the doll hobby per se. Like, it'll affect it, but it's not going to kill it. I also don't think it's going to... I really don't think it's going to drastically lower the demand for these items. I just think they won't sell as quickly or as much as it used to. But I think the hobby will survive this. I think it'll be fine for now, at least with the current way things are. But that being said, there are other things. So, like I said in the beginning of the video, the first part I wanted to address was cost. That was my cost portion. Whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not, you're entitled to your own opinion. Please voice it in the comment section down below, or put it in the live chat for those of you watching the live chat, what you think of this, and we can have a discussion on this. But that's how I feel like it's going to be playing out right now. I don't think it's going to kill the hobby. I think it will affect everybody. And maybe some people will take a break and come back later. Maybe when the economic climate is better or something. I don't know. Or maybe people will just keep trudging along. They're just going to buy less than what they used to, which is kind of in the boat I'm in. I'm definitely going to be buying less. I am already buying less because I just literally have no space to keep everything. And I've said that many times on my channel that I've been slowing down on buying things because I just ran out of room. And it's not fair to the dolls too. And for other people in the doll hobby that I'm collecting this a mass amount of dolls and I really only give like one or two a lot of attention and the other just collect dust when they really could go to a home, another home of somebody that will really appreciate and love the doll. But again, that's the curse of a collector. I am definitely a collector when I identify myself as a doll hobbyist. I'm more the collector side than the well, I'm kind of the projector, but I'm not really the creator. I'm not really a creative when it comes to this hobby. I'm more of the collector side. So I'll definitely still be buying stuff. It's just has a slower pace now. Because 15% doesn't sound like a lot in one shot, but it adds up over time. 50% here, 50% there. 10, 15% later throughout the year, it adds up. It ends up being a lot. So, you got to really like make good choices now. Not that I was making good choices before, but I gotta make better choices on buying things. But that's really like my take on financially how this hobby may survive within the next couple of years or not. And again, when there's a new administration, things could get better, things could get worse, things could stay the same, really. We have no idea. We're not fortune tellers. We can't predict the future. Maybe some of you are. Please let me know so I could try and win the lottery. I really need lottery winning numbers, please. But we'll just have to wait and see and take it day by day, step by step. Ooh, baby. No. Like, we're just going to have to see. We're just going to have to wait and see, people. Now, the next part of today's episode, going on the same theme of where the dolls are going to be. I already mentioned that the earliest dolls in the very early 2000s, I think the first doll featuring was either 2000 or 2001. Tempest probably knows, but, it essentially is just basically at the beginning of 2000 at some point. How are the dolls, now that we're 25 years in, roughly, how are the dolls holding up? Right? So let's talk about the future of anime dolls, because our anime dolls, specifically talking about this channel and our hobby, is vinyl dolls. I dabble here and there in the ABS plastic ones for the little Pure Nemos and the pull-ups and stuff like that. Also the little miniatures that Tempest and Kitten Cat Shop has been getting me addicted to. And then you have other things like resin. Like resin dolls are starting to come on a little bit more strongly now with their anime representation, especially recently. But for this particular argument today, I want to keep my focus on the vinyl side of the hobby, right? So with vinyl dolls, what is the future 25 years in? You know, a lot of people are changing things. For one, Smart Doll. Smart Doll's been making moves, you know, since its inception, with vinyl dolls becoming a harder vinyl. Whereas companies like A-Zone, companies like Dolphy Dream or Volks, their vinyl dolls are a little bit more squishy, more softer, more like velvety to the touch. But Smart Doll, even though they have vinyl dolls as well, their dolls, the vinyl is a lot harder. Okay, and that's a design choice. That's a Danny Chu design choice. He wanted the vinyl to be harder so it's less prone to staining. And I've said this many times. He used to be a collector of Dolphy Dreams and noticed that they stain. And when he decided to make his own doll company, he was trying to figure out ways of, you know, how to make it more viable and user-friendly by not staining. And the way he did that was he baked the vinyl a little bit longer, so it would close the pores a lot more, and that it would be, you know, a little bit more resistant to getting stained. Not that it doesn't get stained, but it's a little bit more resistant than the other company counterparts. Now, aside from that one change, then he went on an excursion of doing Cortex. Cortex was made of Aciflex plastic. It was basically a Gundam model kit that you could build a doll. It failed for numerous amount of reasons, but it's been brought back in the picture you see before you as Cortex 2. Now, Cortex 2, if you follow Smart Doll and you follow Danny Chu and how things have been progressing throughout, I guess you could say the years now, you know, it's about a year and a couple months, year and a half maybe, that he's been working on Cortex 2, something like that. You know, it's being more on the appeal of ABS plastic and cyberpunk kind of style. And you see him doing all these like gun arms and mechanical hands and lights inside, even TV screens in the newest thing. So he's going into the really hardcore techie side and, you know, more, I guess you could call it like STEM class side, because you're building something like a Gundam model kit, but you're also customizing it things in ways that you weren't able to customize your dolls before when they were vinyl. And I already want to say that the vinyl doll hobby is a niche within the anime hobby. It's like a niche in the anime hobby. It's a niche in the doll world hobby that is growing though, but it's like, it's a niche within a niche within a niche. And now you're bringing plastic, cyberpunk, robotic, customizable techie dolls. It's even more further into a niche. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not saying that at all. By no means is it bad, but it is taking a different direction than what we in the doll hobby are used to seeing within the past 20 years, let's say. So it's a new direction. It doesn't mean that, at least as far as I know, I didn't ask Danny. It's not like he said anything to me. But as far as I understand it, it's not like the vinyl dolls are going away. It's just he's really focused on Cortex 2 right now as a new project for a new release. And I think as long as it goes well and has a better outcome than the very first Cortex, it might be here to stay. And if that is the case, again, that's a new direction that this company is taking for dolls that we have not seen before. And whether or not that will continue to be a good thing for the hobby, whether or not ends up being a failure, whether or not ends up being a success, we won't know until we get there, until people start buying these things, selling these things, advertising it, social media taking off, you know, all that other kind of stuff. We really don't know how it's going to play out until we get there, but we could see it already taking a turn. Now, could this be good for the hobby? Could it be oversaturating the hobby? I am always of the opinion that variety is always a good thing. Having choice is a good thing. Instead of only having to choose this vinyl doll or that vinyl doll and that's all. I like choice because we as a people, we as human beings, we don't all like the same exact thing. We all have different things that appeal to us, and having different choices is always a good thing, because you don't have to be saddled into one thing. Doesn't mean you have to like everything, but you also don't have to be saddled into one thing, or you can even expand your horizons into the things that you never thought you would like, you know, and just grow your collection in a different way. So people that may not like Cortex 2, maybe see a friend that has it and then gets into it and actually likes Cortex 2. Who knows? But that's a direction that the dolls are taking, at least on one aspect of the doll hobby. And then you see another thing, a change. Look at Volks. Volks is now combining their vinyl dolls with resin aesthetics with the new Dolphy icons. Now, granted, this is a Volks USA project or endeavor. It's not a Volks International website. It's a USA endeavor. But I think this is amazing. And it's definitely won me over personally. You know, I've never really been a fan of the resin doll side of the hobby. It just didn't appeal to me. I'm not saying it's bad. It didn't appeal to me. But over the years, it kind of grew in me. I started liking them. And then I wanted my own resin doll. Now, I didn't buy my own resin doll yet. But then along came this little company, this little doll brand series or lineup, combining the resin aspects of doing faces, like facial sculpts. Like you can tell from Sarah here in this picture, the facial sculpt is definitely different than what you would see in a normal anime vinyl doll. This is a 100% resin doll looking appeal, but on a vinyl face, not on a resin face. It's a vinyl face. And one of the key aspects of resin dolls when doing a face-up is that these are all unique face-ups. Even though they all kind of look the same in general, all of them are hand-painted, so there might be slight differentiations from one to the other. So now seeing Volks USA churn out these Dolphy Dream anime-style dolls, but with the resin facial aesthetics, and combining the two, because I love the vinyl dolls. I'm a huge fan of vinyl dolls in general. It doesn't mean I don't like any other type of dolls like plastic or resin. It just means that that's where I started. That's where, you know, my heart is. But now they're combining that where I can have a resin doll, but in vinyl form. I love it now. And, you know, I've been getting more into the resin hobby as time goes. And I actually even have my own resin doll now that I've inherited or adopted from, you know, our friend Tempest Strife in the chat. And I'm still waiting for my Disney Princess Belle resin doll. Where is it, folks? I'm waiting for it because I really want it. But again, this is what I'm saying. Like, the future of anime dolls could be going cyberpunk, could be going plastic, or it could even be going to this new icon status, which is a big hit. These resin faces on vinyl dolls is selling like hotcakes, and getting your hands on one is even harder than you would getting any other vinyl dolls from Volks. You know, so, you know, for right now, within the immediate future, past couple of years, Dolphy Icon has been, you know, I guess progressing by leaps and bounds, and a lot of people are just really excited for it and really happy that it's here, myself included. But how will this affect the doll hobby? Does this mean that anime dolls may be going away in favor for Dolphy Icons? I don't think so. But is it opening up another door, another branch in the hobby that's here to stay? I 100% believe in that. I think we are going to start seeing more dolls of the icon variety, maybe even from other companies. You already see Smart Doll doing something somewhat similar with their semi-real lineup. You know, where the semi-real dolls are not exactly anime. They have a little, like, I guess you could say, like, video game CGI look to them. That's why they call them semi-real. So it's kind of like that in-between point between anime and resin doll, so to speak. You know, and that's going by leaps and bounds too. It's one of the more popular lineups actually in the Smart Doll world. It doesn't mean that people hate the anime ones. People are still clamoring and calling for anime dolls from Smart Doll. But what I'm saying is that is you're seeing this change in the hobby, this evolution where you're not only seeing anime dolls only. Like, that's not the only thing available, where Volks for many, many years, anime dolls in vinyl. That's all you get is anime dolls. Then you had Smart Doll. Now you have semi-real dolls. Now you have Dolphy Icon. Now you have this half resin, half vinyl aesthetic kind of a doll. And things are changing. And I think for the better. I believe for the better. But how does this affect anime doll collecting? Is it going to make anime doll collecting obsolete and out of the way? I don't think so. But will it open eyes to a new audience? Will it have its own growing? Or will it flop? I don't think it's going to flop, to be honest. I really don't think it's going to flop. I believe it's here to stay. It's going to eat up a chunk of vinyl sales for anime dolls, sure. But I don't think it'll make anime dolls go extinct. If anything, it'll strengthen the hobby. At least that's what I believe. I believe that semi-real, I believe that Icon is just only going to strengthen the hobby. It's going to strengthen sales. It's going to strengthen awareness. It's going to make more, it's going to reach out to a broader sense of people, because maybe people that were resin only collectors might be delving their foot into the Icon side. And then once you have a vinyl doll and you kind of experience the, wow, this is really light. Oh, wow, they're really easy to pose. Oh, I don't have to string them. They don't automatically kick me for no reason or flop over. This is actually kind of nice. Doesn't mean that they're going to abandon the resin side. Doesn't mean that at all. But it does open their eyes to another side of the hobby that they may have been not so interested in at first. Same thing with the semi-reels for Smart Doll. I think semi-reels appeal to a lot of people from the resin side of the hobby. It doesn't necessarily mean that they change 180, but it's opening doors to other people that otherwise may not have been interested. So I think it's good. And then you have other companies. It used to be the big three. Well, the big two, really. It used to be the big two: Volks, A-Zone. You can make an argument that Obitsu is there too, but Obitsu and A-Zone, even though they're two separate companies, they're pretty much the same. I mean, Obitsu makes a lot of the doll parts for their A-Zone dolls, so I kind of feel like I kind of lump Obitsu and A-Zone together, even though they are definitely two separate companies. But A-Zone, Volks, big heavy hitters in the anime vinyl doll scene, right? And then all of a sudden we had Smart Doll come along. Now we have three. You have Smart Doll, you have Volks, you have A-Zone, and now that the hobby has been growing and there's more awareness and there's much more demand for these dolls, all of a sudden you see other vinyl dolls coming out which you were never seeing before, like Tiny Fox. Tiny Fox is the picture I have here on the right. That's one of the dolls from Tiny Fox. Now they are a smaller vinyl doll, a 20 centimeter 1/6 scale, but they are amazing dolls. I don't own one, but I have the opportunity of seeing one and playing with them before, especially with the ones that we were giving away at Daigikdom Con. I've been able to hold it and take a look at it and move it around. And they're really amazing dolls. They're really cute dolls too. I do like them a lot. But you see companies like that now coming out. You see other companies like Dollbot, which is very hard to get their dolls. But Dollbot is another vinyl company that's making really cool dolls. I think right now they have only 4 to choose from. It used to be only 2 dolls. I think there's 2 more that they added to their collection, if I'm not mistaken. But you have companies like Dollbot. So the future of anime dolls is trending. It's still going up. I think we're still climbing this mountain. And I don't think we've hit the peak yet, but I think we may be close. Because once you start getting more and more companies making vinyl dolls, and I don't think that's a bad thing, but it's not necessarily a good thing, because then you'll have oversaturation of the market, and now there's too many dolls and too many choices. I don't think we've hit that plateau yet, but we are trending upwards towards that. And we're starting to see Tiny Fox, we're starting to see Dollbot, we're starting to see other companies making vinyl dolls, which, to be fair, in the very beginning, making a vinyl doll is a very expensive endeavor, especially depending on how the company decides to make their dolls. If they're using traditional slush casting, if they're using, other means to mass produce like Volks does for their casting of doll vinyl. So depending on how the companies want to do it, you could refine the process to make it cheaper. Now, I don't know. I didn't do enough research to figure out how Dollbot or Tiny Fox is making their dolls, like what kind of process that they're doing. But again, new companies hitting the scene, releasing anime dolls, I think that's trending upwards in our hobby. So that's another factor that's a plus. Maybe there's a downside because financially, tariffs and everything, especially for us in the US, is hitting our doll hobby and making it kind of go on a downward slope when it comes financially. But then all the other companies coming out of the woodwork, making things, the new lineups that are coming out of existing doll companies, I think that's trending upwards. So again, it's an up and down hill. It's an up and down battle in this hobby. And I think we are doing good right now. We're just fluctuating, I think, at a good gradient. But again, another side to this, talking about the future of anime dolls. And this is a side that I don't know if many people talk about this. Is vinyl still the future? Like, vinyl dolls are beautiful. They're amazing. I love them. I always talk about that new vinyl smell. I always talk about when I open a new doll that the skin is so smooth and, you know, it's very nice and I love it. And people make fun of me for saying that. And I'm okay with that because, admittedly, I'm a weird person. Okay? I'm not going to hide that. I'm a weird dude. I like weird things. And that just so happens to be my thing. That being said, what is the lifespan of vinyl? Do we even know? All of us that are in this hobby, what do we expect from vinyl? Because we all know there's a lot of maintenance to these dolls, so to speak. There's a lot of things we got to watch out for, a lot of maintenance and care that we got to be like, oh, you know, don't let it go in the sunlight. Don't put like dark clothes on it. You know, if you get any staining, clean it with, you know, hydrogen peroxide or use the Dolphy Dream Rescue. Now you're getting into chemicals that you're putting on these dolls. Don't touch your dolls with greasy hands. You know, don't, I don't know, draw on them for whatever reason. I don't know. To stain them. There's a lot of do's and don'ts when in this hobby. And is it really still the future? In all honesty, it's too short to tell. 25 years is too short to tell. Because look at, and I always use these examples, you know, in my videos, but look at cars, right? Look at the early cars, like from the 1950s. Do they last very long? You could say, yeah, the engines still work. You could always fix them, but the metal was very cheap. They were the very early 50s. They were decommissioning like airplanes and tanks, and then reusing metal parts or metal scraps to build cars and things like that. So a lot of the earlier cars had like a lot of rust problems, or you know, a lot of like cheap metal, you know, and you can make the argument, yeah, they still last long because you still see the 50s cars roaming around today, but that's only if people want to take the time and effort to restore them. But if you just left them the way they are, a lot of them kind of crumbled. You know, same thing with vinyl. Maybe 25 years is not enough time to see if vinyl will last. But then again, look at vinyl records. We have records from the 50s and the 60s. They're still around. They do deteriorate, though. The vinyl does deteriorate. So it really depends on how the vinyl is made, right? So if it's made with good materials in a, you know, in a, I guess, massively good way. I don't know how else to like phrase that. Then if it's good quality materials, then it will last longer. If you take care of it, it'll last longer. If you don't take care of it, you don't. That's another reason why Asuna is here. Asuna is a very old doll. She's not the oldest, but she's pretty old. I think 2011 or 2010 was her release. So she's like a good like 15 years old, so to speak, somewhere around that, like 10, let's say 10 years plus, right? Her vinyl is still good. Now, the reason why her vinyl is still good is because she's quote unquote, when I bought her new, the previous owner didn't open the box, didn't take her out of the box, but she did have some wear and tear, even though she was never taken out of the box. Her vinyl is, how should I say it? It's not as soft and silky as like the newer dolls. Now that might be because she's on a DD2 body and the vinyl they used back then is a little bit different than now. Maybe. But I think that there is some degradation in this, especially in the wig. Her wig, most of all, is the worst. I think her wig did not age very well sitting in that box. It's very, very light. It's very, very coarse. It's not as fine as the newer wigs that are out there. So it's definitely a concern. Now, vinyl can last for over 100 years. Well over 100 years, because we've seen it in other products made in the past. They're still around. But it depends on how you take care of it. If you're not really taking care of it and you're just using it just rough and tumble, it's like, hey, I bought this thing to be used, I'm gonna use it. It may not be lasting you very long while. It may look a little rough after a couple of years or a couple of decades. But if you take care of it really well, it can last for a very long time. Like, the material itself has the ability to last for a long time, depending on how it's made with, if it's made with good quality goods. I'm assuming, my assumption is, now I'm not a vinyl expert, I'm not a scientist, but my assumption is that Dolphy Dream, Smart Doll, A-Zone use high quality materials in their vinyl. That's my assumption. I have nothing to back that up, but my assumption is they use high quality vinyl materials, because we are paying a high quality luxury price for these dolls. These ain't cheap. It's not like a $20 Barbie. You know what I mean? Like, it's expensive. So I'm assuming that it's good quality. I don't know that for sure, but let's move on to the next slide, right? So what are the factors? We already talked about material quality, but environmental conditions too. Do you take your dolls out a lot? You know, outside to doll meets, outside for photo shoots, out to the beach, out to just go shopping, you know, or out with friends, go to conventions. You know, do you have it sitting in front of a window? Do you not have a well air conditioned home? Like, let's say you just like saving money, so you don't use air conditioners, you just use fans, right? Even then, it still can get very hot, even if you're using fans. Like, is the fan directly blowing onto the doll to keep it cool? Or is it directly blowing onto the doll, but it's also the fans next to the kitchen, and when you're cooking, some of that oil or the vapors in the air goes blasted straight at the doll. Now you have oily dolls. Like, it really depends on how you take care of your dolls. That's a huge factor. And I can honestly say, with no proof whatsoever to back this up, but I can honestly say that us in the doll hobby, we are all different people with all different lifestyles, all different kind of upbringings, all different kinds of ways of living. You know, one person's idea of clean may be one person's idea of dirty, or, you know, it's just the way we all live is different. It's not right or wrong. It's just different. And those conditions that we live in is, you know, affect the dolls and how long they last. How you handle the dolls. Do you wear white gloves when you touch your dolls all the time? I don't. I just kind of like touch them and move them around. But I do make sure I wash my hands, because the oil on your skin can be absorbed into the vinyl of the doll and can really affect the doll long term. If you get a lot of oil on the doll, it can ruin the vinyl. Where do you store your doll? We already talked about that. Really hot place. What if you are like me and you don't have enough space to display all your dolls, so you put your dolls in a Tupperware? But what if you put it in a Tupperware, like a big, you know, those big plastic container thingies? But what if you put it in your basement? What if the basement floods? What if you don't have, what if your air conditioning broke and it took you 3 months to fix it because you didn't have enough money, because air conditioners are expensive? So for those 3 months in 100-degree weather and humidity, how's that affecting your doll? So there's a lot of things that come into, you know, keeping the vinyl at a good, healthy, you know, environment so that it can last. Do you dust your dolls? Do your dolls get a lot of dust? Is it an enclosed glass space to keep it clean and away from any kind of particles or harm? If you have pets in your house, like cats or dogs, do the danders get onto your dolls? Does that affect it? Do your cats or dogs rub up against the dolls because they're not in a glass case? Who knows? So, you know, your lifestyle really affects how these dolls and how the vinyl will last you. And that's something that's definitely different. Like, I can honestly say now that when I was a child, my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that were made out of plastic, my G.I. Joes and Transformers made out of plastic, guess what? I still have them today. Yes, sirree. I still have them today. They're still somewhat functional, but they are all trashed because I didn't treat them properly. I was a boy. I smashed them together. I had them fighting. I dropped them off the second story because it's like, oh, he fell off the building. You know, like, so they're all like beat to crap, but they're still around. They haven't deteriorated. They're just beat up because I didn't take care of it. But if you go to those conventions where they sell like vintage stuff, like people that have it sealed in a package, those things are still good to go because it's plastic. But vinyl? Vinyl is different. Vinyl doesn't always keep up. It depends on where you store it. You can put that G.I. Joe in a hot place, cold place. It'll still be fine. At the end of the day, maybe the rubber inside might have degraded. That might be a different thing. That rubber band that holds the G.I. Joe together. that might have like dried out and dry rotted. Who knows? But our dolls, our vinyl dolls, like, you know, I've seen some really out of shape dolls on the internet for vinyl, like rescue dolls. And most of those dolls that are rescues is, I want to say, user error. Like the user did not really take care of their dolls, and that's why they're in this disheveled state. But I feel like if you really take care of your dolls and you're really attentive to them, I think that they can last. I don't think the vinyl's going to degrade. Another thing you got to worry about is chemical exposure. So, for example, what if your doll got a stain? You know, and you have to use Dream Rescue. Well, how many times did you use Dream Rescue? How many times did you use hydrogen peroxide to clean a stain from the doll? That will affect it as well. What if you were doing arts and crafts and you had some hot glue in your hand and then you touched the vinyl? Now you got hot glue on the vinyl. Now maybe you got to it in time where you can clean it off, but some of those chemicals, some of those toxins from the glue might have already seeped into the parts where you can't wipe it off. That might affect the vinyl in the future. So there's a lot of things. Like vinyl is a very durable but also temperamental thing at the same time, depending on how you treat it. You know, another factor is I have a pair of vinyl shoes that I got from Volks, from one of my older dolls. I have these vinyl shoes. Now, I never used them. They were always in the plastic, and I kept them in a Tupperware storage container in the closet right next to me. Never ever used it. Then I was like, oh, I have these new shoes I never used. Maybe I'll do a schoolgirl outfit, because they were schoolgirl shoes. And I was like, okay, I'm finally gonna open it and take it out. I opened up the shoes, the sole disconnected from the shoe itself. So the vinyl on the top part of the shoe, or the, you know, and the rubber part for the bottom sole of the shoe just came apart. Like the glue just came apart. Like, and I never used it. It was just in storage this whole time. Like it just degraded. I have also, you know, these pleather, I don't know why it's always shoes. I have these pleather shoes that I also have is like these, what do you call them? Like ankle boots. The pleather started to yellow near the zipper, where the pleather is exposed. That started to yellow. And the tip of the shoe, the nose where the toes go, started to crack. And it's just over time, it just started to crack. Like the vinyl just started to crack. So, and that's with like moderate use, right? So again, it depends on the materials that is used, depends on how you treat your vinyl products. They could last or they could not last. It's really upon you as the owner and how you take care of your dolls and store them. Now, I know this applies to everything. You could say the same thing about cars. You can say the same thing about Funko Pops or whatever. It's all on how you're attentive to it. But I feel that the nature of vinyl versus the nature of something like steel or the nature of something like plastic, vinyls is very temperamental because it's vinyl, because of the pory nature of it and the softness of the skin. You really got to be attentive to it. It's not as bad as, let's say, Adika dolls for the silicone bodies. That's even worse. Taking care of that, that's a chore. They're very nice bodies. They're exceptionally nice, but maintaining those things, I don't see them lasting a very long time unless you take very good care of those things. So, you know, with Smart Doll not moving on, but with Smart Doll now making Cortex 2, that avenue of having a plastic doll versus a vinyl doll may change things in the future. Maybe people are like, well, plastic's more durable. Plastic lasts longer. Also, plastic doesn't stain as easy. Also, plastic's not prone to ripping or tearing as easy as vinyl. Plastic doesn't stain like vinyl. Did I say staining before? I might have said staining. But the durability of plastic is much harder and hardier than vinyl. So, is vinyl still the future? We don't know. But there is a competitor now. You know, it's not that plastic dolls have never been around. There's other companies that made plastic, like A-Zone with their Pure Nemo dolls. They had plastic. Pull-ups and Blythes, plastic. You know what I mean? Like, so it's not like plastic's a new thing, but I will say plastic seems to be a new thing in the 1/3 scale size. I don't know of any other companies that make 1/3 scale anime dolls in plastic other than Smart Doll doing the Cortex. I could be wrong on that, but I think that's where we're at. So again, is vinyl the future? Who knows? But plastic is... It may take over depending on how people in the hobby want it. I know I personally, I like it. I like Cortex, but I also like my vinyl. I don't know what it is about vinyl. Maybe it's because of the softness of it, you know, or the more realistic it looks. Like vinyl just looks cool, whereas plastic, it looks like plastic. I mean, there's no way around that, right? It's like, it's a plastic doll, it looks like plastic. It's not like the plastic looked like vinyl or looked velvety. It looks like plastic. There's no way around that. And whether or not you like that aesthetic look of plastic is up to you. That's a personal preference. But could that be the future of dolls? Maybe. We'll see how it goes. There's not enough time to be able to make that decision or to come to that conclusion because it's still so new and so fresh. But vinyl dolls have been around for 20 plus years now, and some of them are good, like Asuna here, and depending on how they're treated, some of them are real bad. Like, just go look at some of those dolls online for sale, the rescue dolls that need to be adopted and saved. You know, you can always look at Tempest saves a lot of dolls. She is a dollitarian. Baldylocks saves a lot of dolls. He also is, I consider, a dollitarian, you know? Like, you know, these dolls, some of them, they just need a lot of love and a lot of care, a lot of saving. You know, from, I don't want to call them bad owners, but let's say negligent owners. They weren't as, you know, attentive as some owners. Not necessarily they didn't care, but, you know, or maybe just unknowledgeable. Maybe they got into the hobby and they didn't realize certain things about the dolls, and then the dolls got destroyed, and then they're like, I don't want this anymore, and they try to sell it. But the nature of vinyl within this 20 plus years time span seems to be holding on pretty well. But it's all upon the user whether or not that's going to keep going in the future, or if it's going to stay. Moving on to the next one. What are signs to look out for? So we kind of touched upon this already, and I know Tempest has been addressing it in chat. She's been saying a lot of things in chat to look out for, but things to look out for in the future with vinyls. And there's a reason why I picked Alizé in this picture, and I'll talk about that in a bit. But discoloration. How many of us already in the hobby know about discoloration? You bring your doll outside, you have your doll parked outside in a display case right in front of a window for sunlight. You have them under, I don't know what kind of lighting you have in your house, but if they're always under lights, they can yellow depending on the atmosphere. Again, hot, humid, could change the vinyl. It could yellow. So yellowing or discoloration, or depending on what you have, let's say you have resin, green, could turn green. Discoloration of any kind is a sign that your vinyl is degrading. And at that point, it can't be saved. You can't save it from yellowing. Like, once it starts yellowing, it's already on the path to degradation. You know, there's no saving it. Now, whether or not you want to keep having that doll and keep it alive, you know, that's up to you. But it is a sign that it's degrading. Now, brittleness also, because remember, the vinyl is a porous, soft substance. Think of a tire on a car. Like, you know how sometimes your tire, the rubber can get brittle. Like, if the car's been sitting out in the sun and never driven for a while, the tire that's exposed to the sun can get brittle. Same thing with the vinyl. You could start seeing cracks in the vinyl. You could start seeing it yellow. You're going to start seeing it, like, get very brittle to the touch, to the point where if it's been baking in front of a window for years on end, it might be the next time you pick it up and touch that arm, it collapses and breaks. I know that's a little bit of an over-exaggeration, but you can get brittleness in your vinyl. If you do not take care of your vinyl dolls, the vinyl will get brittle. Stickiness too. Again, humidity, heat starts melting the dolls. Warping, again, humidity, heat, sunlight. You hear this recurring theme, right? Like, humidity, heat, sunlight, all of these things are very detrimental to your dolls. It doesn't mean you can't take them outside It doesn't mean you can't bring them out for people to see. You can't take it to the beach and take pictures. It just means just be careful with it. Don't leave it overexposed in the sun for too long. Maybe if it's a 100-degree day with 90% humidity, maybe go out and take your doll for pictures another day, not that day. You know what I mean? Like, there are just use common sense. Like, you're not gonna go out on the hottest day of the summer and then decide to take pictures of your doll in a bikini on the beach, where majority of its skin is exposed to the sunlight. And depending on how you are taking pictures, like if you're like me, I take like 100 pictures of one pose. So I'm pretty much out there for at least 20 minutes on one pose taking pictures. That's a long time to be baking in the sun. What I like to do personally, if I'm taking pictures, I don't take it during the day with the sunlight. Doesn't mean I take it at night. My favorite time to take pictures, and I learned this from my wife, is at dawn. You go out when the sun is just coming up, where it's a little bit dark but a little bit light, because if it's too bright and the sun's too hot, it affects the vinyl, but it also affects your picture taking as well. You know, you want natural light, but there is such a thing as too much natural light. You get too much exposure and then the picture doesn't come out right anyways. So a lot of times when I take pictures of my dolls, when I take them out, I usually go around like 6 in the morning to 7 in the morning, something like that, because it's nice and cool outside. It's not as hot. There's enough sunlight from the sun rising. Like, it's a great time of the day to go. I would never take my dolls out at like 2 in the afternoon to go take a picture outdoors. It's, to me, that's too much sunlight, too detrimental for the doll, especially with my needs. Like, it's one thing if you take the doll out, put it there and go, ching, picture, okay, I'm done, put it back in your bag and leave. That's fine. You could do that in the middle of the day. But to have a whole photo session where you're out there for half an hour or an hour taking different poses, different angles, that's too long to be in like the baking heat and sunlight for a doll. You also don't want to keep your, let's say you're going to Otakon next week, and let's say you don't want to carry your doll through the whole convention. You also don't want that doll sitting in the luggage or in the backpack in your trunk in 100-degree humid weather. That's going to kill the vinyl of the doll as well. So there's a lot of aspects to this as a owner for caretaking of your dolls, so that the vinyl lasts you for, I don't want to say forever, but the longest time you could possibly make it last. You know, it doesn't mean, I mean, I'm sure that if you take care of a doll really, really well, like let's say museum quality, like if I donated Asuna to a doll museum, I'm pretty sure the experts that take care of museum pieces, like when you go to the Met Gala, you know, for those old oil paintings, I am sure there are ways of preserving the doll so it doesn't degrade, so it can always be on display at the museum. If you take that kind of tentative care to your dolls, sure, they'll last a very long time. But most of us like to play with our dolls. Most of us like to socialize with our dolls. And that's fine. That's a great part of the hobby. Just be mindful when you do it and how you do it so that your doll can have a long-lasting life with you. That's my 2 cents. Sorry, I get off my soapbox. But that's what I mean about the future of vinyl dolls. Especially with the vinyl material itself. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, I know a couple of you have been talking in chat. I know Tempest has been putting a lot of like tips and tricks in chat. I haven't gone to it, so we're going to go back to it now. But that's how I feel like this doll hobby is going to be in the future. Prices are always going to fluctuate, and whether it goes up or down, I don't think it's going to hurt the hobby as bad as maybe some people think. The direction that these doll companies are taking, I think, is only better for the dolls. Having choice, I will always say, is better. Now, there could be an oversaturation of choice. There has to be a good balance between choice and oversaturation. But I think right now, the way that the companies are doing it, in my non-studied, like, in my layman terms, because I'm not an economic specialist, I'm not a financial specialist, but in my layman understanding of these things, I think that a good, healthy amount of choice is good for the hobby. A good variety is good. I don't think we've reached that point where anime vinyl dolls are oversaturated in the market. I don't think we've reached that point. Could we in the future? maybe. It's a possibility. But right now, I think we're safe. I want to call it at least within the next 5 years. I think within the next 5 years, the doll hobby, the way its current trajectory, I think we're still safe. And then for the other side of the vinyl hobby, the long-lasting durability of it, that's really up to you as the owner. How you treat your dolls will determine how long it'll last. Oh, and going back to this picture, because there was a reason why I was showing it. With Alize, she's a new doll that's coming out this month. For most people, she's going to be shipped this month. With Alize, the reason why I show this is that those plastic silver pieces on her outfit, those are plastic. Those will be fine. But that jacket, if you don't take care of that red jacket, that's going to crack. Because VODS does not use real leather. They still use good quality stuff, but that's pleather right there. That belt is pleather right there. If you don't take care of that jacket, if you put it too much sun, or if you don't store it in the right place, I could see that jacket cracking over time. That pleather will crack and degrade over time. So you got to be really careful with Alize with those pleather pieces. Because I think even that white shirt is pleather. I believe that white shirt, the jacket, the belt, I think that's all pleather, because that's all VODS use. VODS does not use real leather. It's not like Smart Doll. Smart Doll is making a lot of vinyl shoes now, but there are a couple of shoes like the Chelsea shoes, real leather. Like his older shoes, also real leather. Like the older first generation stuff. Like, that stuff will last. But the pleather, man, I have older pleather things that have just cracked over time. Like, so that jacket, if you don't take care of it, that shirt, you don't take care of it, that thing's going to crack. That is not going to last with the test of time unless you really take care of it. So Tempest says, I'm going back in chat. So we're going to go and review chat right now because I missed out on a lot of stuff. But Tempest says that there used to be a press for softer, even silicone premium parts. There used to be. A key word is used to. Like when a Dika doll first came out with their silicone bodies and stuff, even before Dika doll, like Angelphilia dolls, people were over the moon for it because you didn't have ball joints anymore. You had seam lines on the side of the body, yes, and depending on what company you got it from, the seam lines are very minimal and you couldn't see it. But I think one thing that people came to realize when they started buying these silicone pieces was keep the upkeep, man. You had to keep it powdered. Some people were like, oh, I don't like that powder feeling, and then they try to brush off all the powder, but then that actually deteriorates the silicone. That powder over the silicone is actually what's keeping it in good condition. And, once you get rid of that powder, if you don't maintain, you're actually supposed to add more powder over time to keep it, to keep it in good condition. So I think a lot of people didn't like that, the upkeep and the way, and because they didn't realize the correct upkeep for silicone parts, a lot of the silicone dolls started to like degrade and get like, they'd lose their softness because of oily skin or whatever. And silicone really just didn't do so well, especially with uneducated individuals. Like, and I don't mean that in a mean way. It's just if you don't do your research on some of these dolls, you're not going to know how to care for them the proper way to make them last. I sure as hell didn't when I was a kid with my toys. I didn't know how to treat them properly and make them last because I didn't care about that. All I wanted to do was play, So again, I think silicone premium parts, it's kind of on the wayside. It's a niche within a niche within a niche. There's not many people that's really going for it or pressing for it as much as it was, let's say, pre-pandemic. Jesse and you are still mad about Sarah. I know, we talked about that before. Tempest says, I want Sculpt 1 to print and color match my DD body. I think you're talking about something different. Let's see. Batman Jackson says, resin faces on vinyl bodies is one of the reasons I'm having a hard time finding a Cosmos with original face up. What do you mean, Batman? Are you saying that people are putting like resin heads on vinyl bodies to make Cosmos? Is that what it is? Or it's just hard to find Cosmos in general? Or people wiping the face up? Are you saying people are wiping Cosmos' original face up to like do their own face up? That kind of sucks. See, that's a different camp. Like for me, me personally, I really, it breaks my heart when somebody wipes away the face up of a limited edition doll, because then it's no longer limited edition doll. You just turned it into a normal doll. Sure, it has a unique facial sculpt that is unique to that doll, but once you get rid of the limited edition face up, you can't get that back. I think I saw a post several years ago. Do you guys remember Danny Chu had that prototype garage where he sold one-off dolls? There was only one of, hence the name one-off. I remember seeing a post of somebody that bought a one-off doll. I forgot which doll it was. It was only one of doll. It was a prototype doll. Only one in the world exists. They wiped off the face and did their own face up, which they're allowed to do. It's their doll. They purchased it. They're allowed to do whatever they want with the doll. But then they wanted to sell the doll, and they sold the doll as a limited edition prototype doll. And at that point, I lost it, because it is no longer a limited prototype doll, because all the head sculpts back then were all Mirai head sculpts. This was very early on in the hobby. Every single head sculpt was a Mirai. The only thing that made it a prototype and separate from the others was the face up. Once you got rid of that face up and you put your own on there, it's just a regular Mirai doll. You got rid of the thing that made that doll unique. And then they tried to sell it for an exorbitant amount of money. I think it was like $2,000 they were trying to sell it, because they bought it for like $1,000, because it was, again, it's prototype garage. It was a one-off thing, and people paid a lot of money for those one-offs. Then they tried to sell it for $2,000, saying that, hey, this is a limited edition one-off doll. By the way, I wiped off the face and put my own face up. No, it's not limited edition anymore. It's a regular Mirai doll that you did a face up with. You can sell that for like, I don't know, $350, $500, whatever, because it's your own, it's in your own work, whatever you want to charge. But even if you wanted to sell the doll for $2,000 because of it's your own pride and joy, your work that you put into selling it, then don't market it as limited edition prototype doll, because that prototype is gone now because you wiped the face off. That made me cringe so much. But again, you bought it, you're allowed to do whatever you want with your doll. You want to wipe the face? Put a face up? Go ahead. Wipe the face. It breaks my heart inside, because it now that one limited edition doll that you could have had in your collection forever, or at some point if you sold and somebody that always wanted it would be able to have that same limited edition doll, now gone because you got rid of what made it special. It breaks my heart when I see that. But again, your money, you do what you want with your dolls. But man, it breaks my heart. Temba said Mirai and Candy Dolphy Dreams were released in August 10th of 2003. That was their standard dolls, but I think the very first Dolphy Dream Tempest was what's it called? Rei Ayanami from Neon Genesis. And I want to say that was in 2001 for that very first Rei Ayanami doll that was strung up. But again, I looked at it a long time ago when I was doing research. I don't remember off the top of my head. May 2003 DC Chi from Chobits release, basically the first licensed one from Volks. Well, the Chi was resin, wasn't it? That wasn't a vinyl. February 2004 limited doll Rei Ayanami swimsuit version. Oh, okay, so there you go. First licensed DD is 2004. There we go. Yeah, Chi was super dolphy. So the vinyl on the Barbie's face is somewhat akin to the consistency of the shells for a vinyl in anime dolls. I want to say yes and no. I feel like the vinyl face on Barbie dolls is much more soft, and I want to say it's a poorer material than what we have in our vinyl dolls. Now, I have no scientific backing for that. It's just a feeling. Because I don't own any Barbie dolls, but my sister and my daughter has, and when I look at those vinyl Barbies and the way they feel, like they don't feel like the same type of vinyl. I feel like they're cheaper. But maybe that's just me. With a quick look, it may start to denature and be sticky and yellow, which can be cleaned up. But again, yes, it can be cleaned up, but you can't clean up the yellowing on a vinyl doll. You may be able to on a resin if you sand it down, right? You might be able to sand off the part that's yellowing, but with vinyl, you can't. I don't think you can sand that off once it starts yellowing. Okay, the link that will not show likely is fabulous and awesome, dense and sciencey. Saving Barbie from her own inherent vice by Rachel Brazil. Oh, I think that's the link that you were trying to do. Let's see. Oh, Marie Velez, welcome to the stream, Marie. Sorry I didn't see you earlier. I'm too busy talking. But welcome to the stream. Let's see. Tempa says, I don't save as many as you would think. I got a few for fun and experimenting some to document, then move to the next person. But OG Megu will be my lifer. I don't know, Tempest. I've seen you, in my lifetime of knowing you, I've seen you save a number of dolls. More than I've seen anyone else save, other than probably Baldilocks. Let's see. Marie Velez says, in the 70s, Mattel experimented with hard plastic bodies for some other doll lines, not Barbie. The plastic holds up, but you can find dolls with melted spots in the limbs. It is critical to keep dolls in a stable environment for longevity. 100% Marie, I agree, 100%. You need to keep your dolls in a well ventilated and temperature controlled place. Now, I know that's not easy for everyone all throughout the world because, again, different cultures, different living experiences, different societies do different things. But you want to try your best to keep it in a neutral temperature. Not too cold, not too hot, not too humid, not in front of a window with sunlight, not near the kitchen where cooking oils can kind of like get in the air and like touch the dolls. Like, you want to keep it in a nice area that avoids high traffic and light. I know that sounds really, really silly, but how can I think about this? Like, if you're young and you still live in your parents' house, the only place you can keep your dolls is in your room. And I think putting it on a shelf that's facing away from the window is a good way to keep it out. Also, the shelf facing away from the window is probably not next to the window, because if you're next to the window, even though you're facing away, that heat coming from the outside is not good for the doll. Depending on how your layout is too. Like, if you the type of person that likes to keep your house at 50 degrees at all time, then it should be fine because it's nice and cool. But if you're like me, I keep my temperature in my house around, in the summertime, I try to keep it around like 77 degrees, which is hot for a lot of people. But for me, I think it's a good temperature. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. You can even bring it down to 68 because in the wintertime, I usually keep my house around 68 degrees. So it really fluctuates in temperature. But I think around that 60, mid 60s to mid 70s kind of area is like a good temperature area. I don't know what that equates to in Celsius. I'm sorry. I'm an American. We only use Fahrenheit. But if you want to convert that in like whatever conversion, you can find it out in Celsius. But I think that's like a good like temperature controlled kind of area to keep your vinyl dolls in. Batman says, yes, people used to buy Cosmos and wipe her face. Oh, that's so cringe. It's one thing if you buy like a standard doll like Mirai and Candy and you wipe the face because they keep making those, right? But they don't keep making limited dolls. Like, you take a limited doll and you wipe the original face off. It just hurts me inside. It's your doll, and again, your doll, you're right. You could do whatever you want to your doll, but from an outsider looking in, oh man, it makes me cringe. Like, I wouldn't do it to my own dolls. But again, if you were to try to sell that doll later, God forbid you lived a long life and you died at the ripe old age of 102 or something, and your kids are selling your dolls for you, and somebody just so happened to want that, and then they're like, oh, I always wanted a Cosmos, and then they look at it and they're like, oh, but the face was wiped away. They're not going to want to buy that doll, and where's that Cosmos going to go? In the garbage. And that's just a lost limited edition doll, lost to time. Like, I just feel like limited edition things should not be touched. From a collector standpoint, I know that as a customizer or just somebody that just wants to play with a doll because they like it, you don't care about those things. And rightfully so, because it's not on your priority list. But as a collector, for me, as a collector, man, it hurts me inside when I see those things. I would never, I would never tell you not to do it to your face, though. Like, I know I'm saying this live on the internet where millions of people can see this video, but you know what I mean? Like, in my mind or in my friends, like talking to you guys, I'm like, yeah, I don't agree with that. I feel like you shouldn't do that to a limited edition doll. But if I met you face to face in person and you were like, hey man, check out my I don't know, my Alizé that I wiped the face and I did this new face up, I would be like, yeah, that's cool. You did a face up and she looks great. But inside my heart dies because Alizé is now gone. That's one less. Like, if they only made 1,000 Alizés, now there's only 999 left. Because that original limited edition Alizé is now gone because you wiped it. Like, inside my heart, it hurts. But I would never tell you you're wrong for, like, I wouldn't go to your face and be like, yo man, what the hell? Why'd you wipe that face, yo? Like, like, I wouldn't say that. Like, that's just mean. That's rude. But, as a collector, it just hurts me inside. But it's your money. It's your right. You could do whatever you want to your doll. You bought it. Like, it's yours. Like, you have every right to do it. But, man, as a collector, does it hurt. Hold on. Give me a second, guys. Let me get a drink of water. I'm so thirsty now. Okay. Let me see. What else is going on here? Marie Velez says, sorry for the silly question, but what is a Cosmos? Oh, so Cosmos was from a video game. There's an old video game called Xenosaga, and one of the main, I guess, it's not the protagonist, it's just one of the main characters in the show. Their name was Cosmos. And back in the day, when Cosmos was originally released, her facial sculpt was very unique. During that time frame, a lot of dolls had more of the anime big doughy eye kind of looked. And Cosmos, along with the Idolmaster girl, what's her name? The blonde hair girl. Her and the Idolmaster girl were one of the very first dolls from Dolphy Dream to have more of the oval, like sharper kind of eyes, like the smaller kind of eyes. They were one of the first ones. So a lot of people were buying that doll to customize them so that they would have a unique doll, because before then, all the dolls had big doughy eyes. So there really wasn't much expression other than the big doughy eye expression. So Cosmos and the other girl, I can't remember her name now, they were one of the very first dolls that had the new eye shape or eye sculpt. So that's why it's kind of hard to find an original Cosmos without a wiped up face, because people were just going to town on those things because it's a very unique sculpt for its time. But now you look at Dolphy Dream stuff, there's a lot of different characters and a lot of different heads from Decord or Dream Choice to choose from that have different, more of a slanted eye shape than a bigger doughy anime eye. So there's definitely more choice. But back then there was only 2 limited edition dolls that had that kind of a choice, and a lot of people were buying them up and wiping the faces off and making their own unique dolls. So it's very hard to find an original of those. And that's really what Batman Jackson is talking about. Let's see. Tempest says, I would like to design anime style faces I can print with my 3D printer to hybrid with Dolphy Dream. I mean, that would be amazing. Just experiment with eye shapes, right? Like, just give a different expression. That would be really cool. Let's see. In my opinion, 2B with customer paint looks better than the default. Yeah, I've seen some of them, and you're right, some of them do look better. But it still hurts me inside when you get rid of the original limited edition makeup, even though it wasn't as good. Just as a collector, it hurts. It hurts inside as a collector. Does a pre-order project count as limited edition? Yes, it does. Because even though there's more of them around, because a lot more people pre-order than a limited, it's still limited to that amount of pre-orders. So even though, let's say a traditional limited edition doll is only 1,000 copies, right? And you do a pre-order project, which gives you, let's say, 5,000 copies, right? It's still less than a standard issue Mirai or Candy doll that will always be remade over and over and over and over until they discontinue that lineup. So I still consider it a limited edition, in my opinion. I do. It's limited in time, but they make as much as the market at the time wanted to be saturated. But yeah, look at things like who's a pre-order project? Oh, Y'shtola, right? Y'shtola is a pre-order project, and there's still people going, "Oh, I want to buy one and I can't find one." So it's still limited. Like whereas Candy or Mirai or Ribbon, you can go on the Volks website now and get one. And not really that limited. Marie Valette says, there are so many other dolls available to do custom face-ups. Why would you wipe a limited edition doll? I don't know, Marie. You know, I mean, I know and I don't know. It's like, I get it. Back then, there were only 2 sculpts that had that kind of variety, but yeah, I don't know. It's to me a tragedy. But again, I'm one person. I'm just one person that thinks that way. Maybe you join me. That's 2 people now. There are billions of people in the world. We're outnumbered. Tempest says, want the face in vinyl. Default vinyl face-up is limited by what you can do to realize the character via face mask style and painting. Hand painting can cook closer to the actual character. That is very true. That's why Dolphy Icon is pretty unique. Especially on these characters with more realistic features. Very true. Marie Velez says, now I need to Google a picture of this doll. I can Google it for you if you want. Let me see. Because I think I have the page actually open when I was doing some research before. Yeah, I do have it open. Where's Cosmos? I forgot what page she's on. She's probably on page 5. Because she was like a while back. Oh no, not page 5. Maybe page 7? Oh, here she is. Okay. Here she is. So, let me get a good picture of her. Oh, that's not a good picture of her. So, okay. Where's my thing? There you go. There you go, Marie. That's Cosmos. Maybe there's a better picture where you can see her eyes. Oh, God, such a far away picture. These are not good picture shots of her. If we go back to the main page, you can kind of see her better. There you go. That's her over there. This is Momo. This is the very first Dolphy Dream I ever bought, was Momo. Sadly, I don't have her anymore. I sold her. But yeah, that's Cosmos. You know, you could see with Momo even here, during this time frame, you could see the big eyes. Like, a lot of them had big eyes. Like, this melty kind of big eyes. Oh, here's her. Hoshi. Miki Hoshi. See her eyes? Or oh, here. The blonde. See, her eyes are very different. They're not as big doughy-eyed like this, or like this, or like this. This was very unique for its time. Rise was also another one. This one, the Persona Girl, very high in demand for her face. Like, people wiped her face a lot. Finding an original Rise is very hard. Sakuya, big eyes. Like, Misora, big eyes. This Haruka, big eyes. Going on here, big eyes, big eyes, big eyes, big eyes. Like, they're all big, doughy, like anime-esque eyes. Where Rise is different, Miki Hoshi is different, Cosmos is different. Even if we go older, like, let's go older, page 8. Like, look at these older ones. Big eyes, big eyes, big eyes. Beatrice, very unique eyes. People wiped a lot of Beatrice dolls too. Beatrice got wiped a lot. She was another very famous one. Actually, Beatrice is probably one of the hardest dolls to find, aside from Asuna. She can usually go for 1,800, 2,000, 2,500. I've seen one at Dollyteria in Japan for 2,500 for a Beatrice. Look at this. Big eyes, big eyes, big eyes, big eyes, big eyes, big eyes. They all look the same. Like, they all had these big, doughy eyes. Like, all of them. Like, the farther earlier you go, big eyes, big eyes, big eyes, big eyes. big eyes, big eyes, big like, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just they're all very anime-ish like eyes. Like they all look like that. Kano is another one, very unique eyes. Like these like kind of rectangular angled eyes, very unique eyes. It's very hard to find this. I don't know why they call her Guanyu Yuchang. I know her from Ikitosen as Kano, but like whatever. But then you go back, like if we go back to where Cosmos is, right? Right, here's Cosmos. We go earlier. What came after Cosmos on page 6, the newer dolls? You're going to start seeing the variation in eyes now after Cosmos. Big eyes, Asuna, big eyes. But then look at this. Yusu, look at these angled eyes. Very different. Then we got big eyes. Then you have this one, Chihaya. More of an oval eyes. We're getting different now. Hatsune Miku, more oval eyes. We're getting different now. Yukiho, round eyes, round eyes, round eyes, big eyes, big eyes, big eyes. Here you go. Elisa, oval eyes. Very different. Cheryl, she had big eyes, but Cheryl was very different for her sculpt because her eyes were not only big, but they were unique in the way the eyes were set in, if that makes any sense. Like, you could see the difference in Cheryl's eyes, how it has depth, and the way they did it was the eye socket was a little further in on the facial sculpt, and then they further enhanced it by making the tops and the bottoms more dark. Like you could see the difference in her eyes versus like, let's say her eyes or her eyes. Like you could see these are much more lighter around the eyes, where Cheryl's has more depth to them. So Cheryl was a very unique sculpt in and of herself, but for some reason she didn't sell as hot as like some of the other ones. And if we move on to even newer, we start moving on. Anastasia, more of a pointed eyes, slanted eyes. Who else had newer eyes? Oh, here, Kujikawa. Also very different, like kind of box ovalish kind of eyes. So like as we get more and more further into the newer stuff, you're seeing different eye shapes. Matoi, different eye shapes. Like it's no longer just the big round doughy eyes. So, you know, so back in the day, like the older dolls, like some of them were very unique and people were just buying them up because they wanted a different sculpt other than just big doughy anime eyes. So there was definitely a huge change, like around the 2010s, I want to say, is a big change in faces. Tempest says, I think the nose and lips were the main big jump into realism. Yes, giving it more than just the dot, because the earlier ones have like a dot for their nose, like in anime, but you can see in some of these ones like Saber here or Megadon Luca has more definition in the nose on these newer dolls. Or even here, Ayori has more of a point than a dot on her face. Where if you go to the older dolls, like, look at this. There's not much definition in Mai Shiranui's face for her nose. Or her mouth, really. And look at this. Not much definition in the mouth. Some of these have some definition in the nose, but yeah. It's definitely evolved over the years, for sure. Let's see. Which is why Kanata was such a big deal when Smart Doll released. Yes, Kanata was... When talking about Smart Doll releases, the original releases like Mirai, Kizuna, Melody, Ivory, Ebony, who else was on that line? There's so many other dolls. Cherry, Twilight. Like, a lot of the original Smart Dolls all shared the Mirai head sculpt. And the very first change of the head sculpt that changed it to make it different was Kanata and Chitose. Both of them were very big variations from the Mirai head sculpt. That was the first time when Smart Doll went from one head sculpt to a different one. So then you had Chitose head sculpt, then you had the Kanata head sculpt. And then they made different variations from that, except for Chitose. For some reason, Chitose's head sculpt was only used for Chitose and for Gurai, that anime collaborated one. And I don't think any other character shared Chitose's head. That was very unique to her. But Kanata's head was used for multiple different characters. And then when you had your very first semi-reel for, what's her face now? Oh, the blank name is the very first one. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue for semi-real because I really liked her. And I ended up liking her prototype than the final version. But when she came out for the very first semi-real, so many variations came out of her. But yeah, it's like whenever you change face sculpts to something different, that becomes like a very big difference. But yeah, with Chitose, it was just Chitose. No one else used her face except for the limited edition Gurai. That was it. Very unique to her. But yeah. Go to the last. You can see the very first licensed doll. Oh yeah, you want to see the very first one? Okay, guys, let's go see the very first doll. Last page. Here, this is the very first Dolphy Dream doll, right here, Rei Ayanami. This is your first one. This is the doll that started them all. This is and I'm not changing the pictures. It's auto changing the pictures for some reason. Can we just get this face? This is the very first doll. Look how bland this is. It's so bland. Like, it's just a line for the lips, a little pink drawn in, barely a nose. The eye shape is there's no definition in that. Like, it's just very bland, like red eyes. Not much differentiation with the eye makeup. But you gotta remember, in early, what is this? Early, when was she released? There's probably a date here somewhere. 2004. Released in 2004. So, 2004, this was groundbreaking. You know how crazy that is? That this was groundbreaking in 2004? Like, people were eating this up. And hence why we have all the different dolls now. So, like, she came out. Then there's the Rei Ayanami transfer student. Then there's this Asakura. I don't know where she's from. Then you have Da Capo. Then they started experimenting with these. Like, these actually had some more oval rounded eyes for these serious girls. But these, I think Baldylocks said it once in one of his posts. Like, he finally got one of these and he was trying to track these down forever. Like, finding a DD Serious was really hard for him, I think he said. I think he posted it when he finally got one. Like, he was super excited. But you see some of these older dolls, there's not much expression in the face. But in 2004, like, this was the bomb. Like, these dolls, if it wasn't for these bland looking dolls, we wouldn't have the dolls that we have today. This is what started the whole thing. Because Volks was the very first company to, well, there's debate if Volks or Obitsu actually was the first one. But I want to say, let's say the very first popularly mass-produced anime dolls were from Volks. Like, so let's get more hyper-specific, okay? Because I know that there might be some leeway as whether or not Obitsu is actually first. But for the very first, you know, mass-produced licensed dolls, I want to give it to Volks. But you see these dolls, like, you know, a lot of them they're very cute. Like, some, like look at this one. Katori is very cute. I like her. You know, but some of them are just lacking in expression. Look at this. Before Smart Doll Vision, we had Asakura, memorial wedding dress. Look, no eyes. It's just the painted on, oh, you guys can't see it because of chat. But just the painted on closed eyes. It's like very experimental back then. They were trying a lot of different things. Look at Haruhi Suzumiya over here. I like Haruhi and I love the show, but this doll does not do a good representation of Haruhi. I'm sorry to say. I'm sorry, Haruhi fans that love this Haruhi doll. She just does not look like Haruhi at all to me. If so, that might be the one I aim for Neon Green Sirius. Are those on the DD1 bodies? Yes, I believe so. These Sirius girls, they should be on DD1. They should be. Oh no, DD base body 2. They're actually DD2s. Wow, I thought they were DD1. How about the first one? Oh, first one is DD1. So, okay. So the very first Sirius doll is DD1. So you have a Rei, Asakura, and Sirius. These are all on DD1s. So these dolls are all strung inside. DD base bodies, yes. And it looks like these Serious Girls are the very first ones, Samurai Jupiter dolls. These are the first ones on the DD Base Body 2. So these are the first to have an internal skeleton in these dolls. And then if we go to the next one, I think she is on DD2, right? Yeah, DD2. She's also DD2. So I love looking at this website and looking at all of the collaborations that ever has been. It's so nice to look through this, travel back in time. But yeah, you just have like a lot of these like really old dolls that I feel like a lot of them are expressionless. And some of them are just wild. Like they're trying a lot of weird things very early on. Like look at this girl, Excellen Browning, with the very, very like very bright and very big voluptuous lips. Like you don't see that in any of these dolls back then. So like they definitely tried something different with her, like experimenting. It's just very interesting looking at these older ones. Like look at how bland some of these eyes are, where they're just like solid green or solid reds, versus some of these that have expressions. Like it's just interesting looking at some of these things. It's really cool looking at these older dolls. And you have the one with the one eye open, one eye closed over here from Battle Vixens. I feel like it's Ikitosen though. Yeah, it is Ikitosen. It's just very cool. And then you have your very first with Kano. She's the very first tan doll from Volks. At least for the anime collaborations. She's the very first one in tan skin. Very hard to find Kano. Very hard. For a lot of the collectors buying her up, since she was the first tan. But yeah, there's a lot of really cool stuff. If you go and look on this website, there's a lot of really cool stuff to just like look around and read the specs and everything. It's a lot of fun to just look through. But yeah, that's today's episode. I mean, what do you guys think about it? The future, do you think the future is bleak for our hobby of anime dolls, or do you think we're still good? Because I think despite the ups and downs financially, despite the variation of design choices for dolls that we have nowadays, and the new companies that are busting onto the scene, I still think that we are in a healthy place for anime dolls, and I still think we're in a good place. I want to at least say for the next 5 years. I'm calling it right now. So 5 years later, we're going to go back to this and be like, yep, he was right. I think we're safe at least for the next 5 years. Now, what will happen after that? I guess we'll have to make another prediction. But I think, I'm calling it now, we're good for at least the next 5 years. I don't see there being any major issues or changes. But maybe that's just me. And remember, take good care of your dolls. Take good care of your dolls. Make sure that they're well cared for. And they will last you quite a long time. You know, I think the likelihood of your dolls lasting all depends on you. They're not as hardy as you would like a plastic figure where you could just put it on a shelf and it lasts forever. But, you know, like what's it called? Like a Transformer toy. Like you have a Transformer toy, all plastic. Not the old ones. The old ones actually had rubber tires. Those things disintegrated and they're gone. But the Transformers that were made out of plastic, as long as you didn't bang them around and chip the plastic, they're still good till now. Still good to now. Not much maintenance needed. You still had to keep them away from sunlight, just like any other collectible. But, you know, with vinyl, you just have to take that extra step of care for them. And they could last you a good long while, in my opinion. But hopefully, you guys, you found this episode entertaining. Hopefully, you found it informative. Hopefully, you learned something. And, you know, we've had some good reactions from chat talking about today's topic. But for those of you watching this later on the VODs, put it down in the comment section. You know, what do you think the anime doll hobby is going to be in the next couple of years? Do you think the tariffs are going to kill it? Do you think these new companies are going to oversaturate it? Do you think the existing companies are making bad choices that might kill interest in the hobby? You know, let me know in the comment section. I'd like, you know, to have a conversation with you, even though you weren't here on the live stream. I just think it'll be a lot of fun to talk about it. So before we end today's episode, because it is a Beyond the Doll week, I do want to go over Shizu-san's Anime Corner. Yay! We haven't done an Anime Corner in a long time, and for good reason, because at least for me, I was having a really hard time finding anime I really enjoyed. Like, I did not like any... I barely liked any anime from last season. I think last season's anime, like the winter season anime, I think it was... Or was it spring? No, spring. Spring anime was a little weak. It was a little bit weak for me. Tariffs will hurt these emerging dolls from China. Yeah, it will hurt that. Like, I think Tiny Fox is going to suffer quite a bit from the tariffs, but hopefully they'll hang in there and stick around. At least if they hang in there and stick around for the Asian market, because the Asian market won't get hit with that kind of stuff. So everybody that doesn't live in the United States won't have a hard time with Tiny Fox. So I think it'll still grow. But for the American market, I think it'll die down a little bit. And then hopefully if things change for the better in the US, maybe Tiny Fox will have a bigger resurgence once things gets better. But again, time will only tell. We can only speculate in the speculation zone. But Shizu-san's Anime Corner. So the show I'm going to show you today that I want to recommend is actually not from this season or the last. Although I think last season was season 2. So there's 2 full seasons that you can watch. I just never realized this existed. This was recommended to me from somebody else, and I am so happy they recommended it to me because I absolutely love this show. So it's not a brand new show, but it's a great show. So we're going to talk about Seirei Gensuki, The Spirit Chronicles. Now in the picture it says 2 because that's season 2, but this show is absolutely amazing. I don't know why I never found out this show. I don't know why I never knew it existed, because this is definitely right up there in my alley for shows that I love. Yes, Tempest Strife, it is an isekai. Because at least within the doll community, I think I'm the self-proclaimed isekai man. Like, like I just love isekai from good to trash. I love them all. Like, I'm just an isekai junkie. But this one in particular, I feel like anybody, even if you don't like isekai, I think you can really get into this. Because even though you know while watching this that there are very many isekai aspects to it, like, because it is an isekai, but it's not so in your face isekai. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like, it doesn't scream in your face isekai. It just reminds you from every now and then that, hey, just remember this guy's from another world, you know, kind of thing. But the way that the fantasy world plays out is very different. It's not like your typical isekai where it's like, oh, my power levels are growing. I'm level 99 and my strength is 200. It's not like that. It's like it's a proper fantasy where, like, the guy trains to become stronger. And sure, he has some innate powers, but it's not measured like a video game. Like, they don't say, wow, your power's over 9,000. Like, they don't say anything like that makes it overly isekai tropey. It's just more like, oh, he's strong, he's coming into his powers, he's growing into it, he's realizing it, he's practicing it to make it stronger, he's seeking teachers that can teach him how to control his powers, kind of thing. So it's not like based off of video game levels or anything like that. And the only aspects that remind you that it's an isekai is very much so akin to old school isekai, like Magic Knight Rayearth, where, like, everybody knows they're from another universe or another world, but it's not like your modern day isekai where they measure everything in video game terms or MMO terms. It's a proper fantasy. So, like, you know, they're just like, oh, he did come from another world, but he came here to save us, kind of thing. So in this particular show, what I really enjoy about this is that the guy gets reborn into the world. And I'm not spoiling anything because all this happens in the first episode, so I'm not really spoiling anything. He gets reborn into the world, but not from a baby. He actually enters into the body of another person that's already living. Like, it's a living person during childhood. So anything, like, I forget what age, but let's say, for the sake of example, he isekais into a 5-year-old's body. So everything from the age of 1 to 5 is one person's memories is a whole different person's memories. And everything from the guy from Tokyo, his whole like 30 or 40 years of life, he carried all that and remembers that in his new body in this isekai world. And I don't want to spoil what happens, but there is a struggle between the two people living in the same body and how they kind of coexist as the story goes. Not only does that happen, but you see the emergence, because he wasn't summoned to the world to be a hero. He was just put into this world, and he had to fight his way up. He had the powers of a hero, but he didn't realize it. He doesn't know how to use it. He didn't even know he had it. But once he started being properly trained, he kind of grew into it and started to fill the role of a hero unknowingly and unwantingly, I guess. And through that, you know, he struggles because he experiences classism, he experiences racism, you know, he experiences a lot of different things that's not in your standard isekai that you see now. This is very much so a modern show, giving props to old 90s, early 2000s isekai. So I really identify with the show. I really like it. And, you know, watching throughout the first season, even though it was only 12 episodes, it seemed like it was only 2 episodes because I watched it like straight. It was so engrossing. I was so immersed into this world. It was great. Like, there hasn't been a show that's done this to me in a long time. And maybe it's just me, and maybe you guys will not feel the same way when you watch this, but this is the vibes that the show gave me. So I am very, very happy with this show, and I'm so sad that there's only 2 seasons out because I want more. There's definitely going to be a 3rd season. But like, man, those 2 seasons went by fast. Like, I could not stop watching the show. Like, I turned it on to be background music while I was doing laundry. Like, legit, I was doing laundry. I had this on in the background because it has English dub, so I was able to do that, and I was listening in. And let's just say I stopped doing the laundry and just kept watching. And I watched from like, I don't know, I think it was like 8 o'clock at night when I started. I didn't go to sleep till 4 in the morning, and I had work the next day, which was really bad. I got like an hour sleep. Like, I just couldn't stop watching this show. So if there's any show that you want to try out, I highly recommend Seirei Gensoki. If you haven't seen it already, I really enjoyed it. You guys might like it too. So give it a try if you can. And then the next Beyond the Doll, I'll talk about other shows, because right now in the summer shows right now, there's like 7 shows that I'm watching right now. And I really hate watching shows as simulcast because I like watching them from beginning to end. And I've been watching these 7 shows every single week. I've been chiming in when the new episode comes out because there are so many this summer that I really, really enjoy. So yeah, I'll have more shows to talk about as we go through the episodes of Beyond the Doll, because there's a lot for the summer season, for the summer releases. But I really wanted to start out strong with Seirei Gensoki because, again, I have not seen a show like this that gives a lot of callbacks to old school like 90s and 2000s animes in a long time. Most anime isekai today is like Solo Leveling, is like Sword Art Online, is like Overlord, which are great shows, don't get me wrong, but they video game measure it, you know what I mean? I'm level 10 now, I'm level 100 now, and they get away from the whole, you know, I'm in another world fantasy aspect of it, and it just kind of feels like I'm just in a video game world. So I really like Seirei Gensoki, and I think you guys, if you give it a shot, you might really, really enjoy it. Tempest says, someone today told me that dot hack sign no longer is considered an isekai because people are now putting video game stuff isekai into a separate category. That's always been a debate, Tempest. That's not new. Like things like Log Horizon, Dot Hat Sign, Sword Art Online. In the very early stages, they were considered isekai, but most people nowadays are saying that they're not isekais. There's like a huge debate on what's an isekai and what's not an isekai. People are saying if you go to another world, it's an isekai. Well, technically, a video game world is another world. Technically, if we had the if we had the technology like Star Trek to travel to another galaxy, that is a whole nother world. It's a whole nother planet. It's a whole nother world. Is that an isekai if you just travel the galaxy? Like, I feel like the traditional sense of isekai is you're transported to an alternate reality, an alternate existence, not necessarily, not someplace that you can travel to. Whereas, like, you know, you travel by car, by plane, by spaceship, or you travel by internet connection, you know, with video games. I think a true isekai is when you're transported to another world against your will, by no conventional means, if that makes any sense. Like, no planes, no trains, no spaceships, no teleporters. Even though teleporters don't exist now, they never have, but it's not like something that can be rooted in, it can't be something rooted in reality. So even though transporters are not real, they are part of a scientific fictional lore that we hope to achieve someday. Like, we believe as human beings that with enough research in time, we could probably develop a transporter, right? We could probably develop flying cars. We're not there yet, but we could develop. But one of the things that we can't develop is magic. I don't think, no matter how hard we try, I really don't feel like we as a civilization can create magic. And that's what I think creates a real isekai, in my opinion. Like, a true old school isekai is magic. Like, if you were whisked away through some magical or means of a god or a higher entity, I feel like that's a true isekai. But I also feel like, even though the traditional, the newer ones where you're isekai to a video game, or you're isekai to another world through a teleportation gate, or like, what's that Korean one? I forgot the name of the Korean one. Not Solo Leveling, but another one. Like, those I feel like are still isekais, but I think isekai is so big of a genre that now we have to section them off. Like, are we talking video game isekai? Are we talking teleportation isekai? Are we talking death isekai? I think isekai has grown so big to the point where we now have to section them off. It would be improper or irresponsible to call every single isekai the same now, because I think in the early 2000s it was okay because there was only like 5 isekais that existed or something like that. I don't know. It, like, during that newness of time, there were isekais in the 90s, but I'd like in the early 2000s when it really started gaining traction, there were like only 5 at the time or 6 at the time. Now there's like 30 million isekais right now, of all different kinds of genres, and they all have long ass names that make no sense. Like, I was kicked out of the heroes party, but then I retired and I want to become a farmer, and I have this unusually good appraisal skill that makes me really cool because I'm the son of a villainess or something like that. And you're like, wow, this isekai title is way too long. And that seems to be the weird funny trope that people make fun of isekais now. As long as it's a long name, it's an isekai. So I think that isekai is now so big that we have to specify the genre of isekai. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. So I think like those kind of shows have always been like that. Inuyasha was an isekai. Magic Grey Earth was an isekai. You know, things like what's the other one? Damn it, what's the name of it? The dragon one. It's gonna kill me that I can't remember the name now. Escaflowne. Escaflowne was an isekai. Very much so an isekai. You know, what else is an isekai? Like, old school isekai. Oh my god, there's so many and I'm drawing a blank. It's so weird how much. Like, there's a lot of 90s and early 2000s that were isekais that people didn't realize were isekais at the time. But they really are. Inuyasha was definitely one of them, though. Inuyasha was an isekai. Magic Knight, Ray Earth, isekai. Escaflowne, isekai. I would, Tempest says, Tron is my favorite isekai. Tron would be the computer scientific isekai genre, I would say. Because you get sucked into a TV or a monitor or whatever. Kind of like Superhuman Samurai. Does anyone remember that old TV show where the superheroes are like Power Rangers, but they would play instruments and then get sucked in the computer and fight computer viruses? Technically, kind of like an isekai, I guess. I would argue that Honey, I Shrunk the Kids follows the tropes of an isekai. It does, because you technically are miniaturized and you're in a whole nother world. Kind of like how Ant-Man miniaturized and goes into the sub-universe. And that's a whole nother world with different species and things in the subatomic universe. So yeah, I guess Honey, I Shrunk the Kids is a form of isekai, but not a true sense isekai. I think the key point of an isekai is an unwilling transportation or entrapment and a journey to return or journey to adapt. It used to be in a shorter form films with plots with more about the journey to return. Yes and no. I want to say yes and no. I want to agree but also slightly disagree, because that's where the argument is. That's why people are having so much arguments about isekais, because they're really fighting on what is an isekai and what is not. And you know, and that's part of the discussion, like unwillingly transported to another world, or is it just because you go to another world willingly? Stargate, isekai? You use the Stargate to go to another world, another civilization, another place that's not like your own. Isekai. Stargate's an isekai. Star Trek's an isekai. Like, the what counts? Like, the entire world at this point can be an isekai as long as it's not a rom-com or something like that. Like, I don't know. Like, isekai is too broad a term now to just blanket isekai. It's so broad of a term now where that it's like saying, hey, did you guys see that movie? Be like, yeah, it was a movie, but what kind of movie? A thriller, romance? No, it's just a movie. Same thing with isekai. Like, oh, so many things in anime is isekai now that it's just like, oh, I saw an isekai yesterday. It was good. Look at the list on Crunchyroll right now. If you look at the list on Crunchyroll and you really analyze it, I want to say 75% of the shows on Crunchyroll are all isekai. If you really try to like narrow down what is an isekai, I think like 75% of the shows are isekai. It's just my take. It's a hot take. Definitely is a hot take, but that's my take. Key point, unwilling, unasked for transportation. Yeah, I mean, that's what I think an isekai is. Like, when you're magically whisked away, not by choice, that's the traditional idea of an isekai. But again, there is modern isekai now. You could say retro isekai, you could say modern isekai, you can say aughts isekai, you could say 90s isekai. It just depends when you were born. There's different genre of an isekai. But I like them all. I unwillingly like them all. I can't help myself. Isekai is just my thing. Something about it that resonates with me, that I think resonates with a lot of people. It's just, it's not that I hate my life. I don't hate my life. Like, I have a good life. I have a good job. I have a loving wife. I have beautiful kids. I'm able to afford this beautiful hobby and then some. Like, I have a good life. I don't have it rough. But man, sometimes you just have bad days and you just want to escape. You just want to be the hero. You just want to go to another world and be something that you're not. And that's an isekai. I just want to escape. It's that escapism that really draws people to an isekai. It's like, I want to be someone that I'm not. I need a break from my daily grind. Please transport me to another world. Or at least I fantasize what life would be like if I was the hero or I was the boss. Like, I'm just the worker now. What if I isekai? I want to think of myself as the CEO of a company. I want to be the Navy SEAL veteran that leads a Navy SEAL team or something like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just want to escape your daily grind. That's why people read books. Like, in the early days of entertainment, you had books, you had stories, because people wanted to visualize something that wasn't their daily life. They wanted to escape the grind of being, I don't know, a peasant farming, for some lord on a grape vineyard or something. I don't know. Look at just making stuff up. Like, that's the whole point of an isekai, is you just want to escape reality and just be somewhere else. You want to live another life for 5 seconds of your time or an hour of your time just to get away from the daily grind. And I think that's what resonates with me the most about an isekai, rather than watching a sports anime or your typical high school anime. Like, I want to go over the top. I want to be a different gender. I want to be, a mage. I want to be the number one guy, because you know what? Those are all things that I'm not in real life. Like, I want to escape my daily grind. And that's where isekai comes in. I want to pretend I'm a girl. Sure, I'll watch an isekai where the guy dies and gets transported and reincarnated in a female body. There's plenty of isekais like that out there. Plenty. I'm watching like 2 right now where like the guy was... I want to be like the knight that saves everybody. I'll watch an isekai where the guy gets transported to another world and he becomes a knight and he saves people. There's plenty of those. I want to be a magician. I want to be a mage. I want to be the guy that uses economics like realistic hero in another world. I want to go to another world and take my understanding of cars and engineering, what little I know, and video games, bring it to a fantasy world and be like, hey, did you guys know you could do this? Irrigation is a thing. And it will help you guys. And then I become the hero because I created irrigation in another world. I don't know. I want to feel special sometimes. So I go to an isekai. Like, I feel like that's what resonates to me with isekais, is that escapism. And I think a lot of people resonate with that. That's why isekais are so popular. But I don't know. That's just my take on things. I might be just talking out of my rear end. I am literally talking out of my rear end. But whether you agree with me or not doesn't really matter, because it's just my own personal opinion, my personification of my being, so to speak. And everybody in the world is different, and I'm just explaining my side of things. But if you agree with me and you like those kind of things, maybe you'll like Seirei Gensoki. You may like it. All I ask is give it a try. You never know. You might discover something new that you never thought you would have liked. Give it a shot. Give it a shot. Give it a shot. Tempest Strife says, oh my god, Samurai Troopers. Oh, you watched that too? I thought I was dating myself. Only us old people know what Samurai Troopers was. It's an old 90s afternoon TV show. Or actually Saturday morning. It was actually played Saturday morning in the 90s. But I don't know many people that know what Superhuman Samurai Troopers are. Not many people know about that one. Superhuman Samurai. Dun, 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 dun. If those of you that have no idea what I'm talking about, Google it. It's gonna blow your mind how ridiculous that show is. It's so ridiculous. It's so over the top ridiculous. But yeah. Alright, well, that's my show today. Thank you guys for bearing with me for those last 10 minutes where I just basically talk about nonsense garbage that has nothing to do with dolls. But if you found it entertaining, thanks for chiming in, and I'm glad you like it. Moguri says the best... Oh, I read that one. Best isekai is Inuyasha. Batman Jackson says, and a harem Shizu-san. That's a double no from me, dog. What can I say? I like harems. I don't know. Harems speak to me. Maybe it's a guy thing. I don't know. It's got to be a guy thing, right? Like a heterosexual cis male thing. I don't know. Not that I would do it in reality. It's fantasy. It's fantasy. You want to just imagine something that is and is not. Batman says Dot Hack is the only one that I like. Well, that's a good one to like then. If that's the only one you like, Dot Hack is a good one. I enjoy it. Keith, what's up, Keith? Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad. Yes, that is the show, Keith. You know it. We're around the same age group. You know that show. I know you watched that one. But some of the youngins here in chat may not have no idea. Or some of the people in chat that are from other countries that don't know what Superhuman Samurai Squad is. Now I'm opening their eyes to like 90s American garbage TV shows. I mean, I liked it, but a lot of people thought it was garbage. I thought it was very entertaining as a child. Would I watch it now as an adult? Probably not. I would not rewatch it. Like, I rewatch some old shows. Like, I'll rewatch the original Transformers with my son. We'll watch it together. We're on like season 2 now. Like, I'll watch old shows, but Superhuman Samurai Squad, I would never go back to watching that. It was fun at the time. I'm not re-experiencing that again. Okay, well, thank you. Quadruple S Gridman is related? Yeah, in a way. In a way, it's kind of like the same theory. But yes, you're right, Keith. But thank you everybody for coming to today's episode. Man, it was a long one, but really the episode was really from like the first 2 hours, because the last 40 minutes I've been talking anime nonsense. So if you're not interested in anime, you don't really need to watch the last 40 minutes. But in retrospect, you probably watched up to this point and you're like, wow, you could have told me that earlier. But thank you everybody for toughing it out and staying here through my anime shenanigans. I really appreciate it, because it's one of my loves in my life other than dolls. I really love anime. It's a big part of my being. But thank you everybody for coming. So hopefully you found today's episode fun. I hope you found it, learned something. Hope you found it interesting. Hopefully you've discovered a new anime maybe. And next week is going to be Otakon. So stay tuned for my live streams in Otakon. And I think, yeah, after Otakon will be the Doll Symposium. So we'll have our episode Doll Symposium. Yep. So thanks everybody for coming. I know I said that like 5 million times. As always, I'm your host, Shizu-san, and my lovely assistant with me is the very beautiful Asuna Yuki from Sword Art Online. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.